What's good, y'all? It's been a minute, man. We back with another edition of the Giant Overreaction, man. The best television show not on TV. I just talked to the Beard just a little while ago. I almost felt like a head coach, man. I was like, Beard, you need the day off, bro? You got some work you need to handle? He was like, yeah, I could take the day off. I was like, I'm gonna do a Giant Overreaction, man. We'll get back to this, man, on Thursday and whatnot. The Beard said, though, to all the Dallas Cowboys fans out there, he said when we open up the show on Thursday, he gonna bring a bouquet of flowers for all of y'all. But big shout out to the gang one time, man. The New York Giants take care of them Green Bay Packers 24-22. We briefly gonna go over this game because I got a couple of overreactions to talk about, y'all. I told people on Twitter today I want that smoke directed right at me today because y'all know what it is right now, man. Giants are definitely striding right now, and there's a lot of question marks surrounding the quarterback position and the future of this team. So let's get right to it, man. Cannot wait to talk about today. Save y'all questions for a little bit here. We're going to get to about 3 or 4 Giant overreactions. I got a clip from ESPN First Take that the homie Stan sent me that I definitely want to go over. But before we do that, let's talk about this matchup, man. The Packers headed to MetLife to take on our New York Giants.
Giants are on the board with 11:16 to go here in the third.
All right, let me see who's up in the chat one time. Let me shout out the gang one time. When was the last time we had a Victory Tuesday? I can't remember. I'll tell you what, because since 2019, we have not had a Monday night win in primetime ever. So it's looking kind of crazy right now that we're sitting up here, quite possibly the first Giant overreaction with a Victory Tuesday. This is amazing, y'all. I'm glad to be in the building. Good to see y'all, man. It's been a couple of weeks since the bye week and whatnot. I think we didn't have a Giant overreaction a week before that. That's right, because of Pest. Shout out to Pest, man. They laid Pest to rest on Monday, I believe it was, man. So, our condolences to him and his family. But what a victory by the New York Giants here, man. I think this was definitely for the homie Pest. This was a great W. I see the homie Cross is in the building one time. What's going on, Cross? I hope all is well. I see LaMamba James is in the building. We got gang in the building, y'all. We definitely going to be talking about this matchup here. Let's talk about how this looked as we were entering the game here. The Giants were dogs in this game at home by 6.5. The opening line had the Packers favored by 6.5. The Giants entered the Monday night game coming off a 2-game winning streak. That was the first winning streak of the entire season. The Packers had won 3 straight, and they had won 4 out of 5. 16-0 under Matt LaFleur in December. His entire tenure over there with the Green Bay Packers. They had a 3-game winning streak in each of his 5 seasons. And the New York Giants end that winning streak, and they end that 16-0 winning streak. And a lot of that had to do with that boy, man, Tommy Cutlets, your boy Tommy DeVito. He was definitely out here hooping. He was playing some great football. Let's check out these numbers, which don't really tell the whole story, or they don't tell the tape. You know how the boxer come out to the ring and they try to tell you the tape and whatnot. A lot of time that does not mean who was going to win that matchup. Tommy was 17 of 21 for 158 yards. He had 71 yards on the ground as well. A quarterback rating of 113.9. The touchdown mark is wrong on that right there. That was from last night when we were doing the Bleacher Report stream. He only had 1 touchdown on the day. But nonetheless, man, Tommy DeVito out here showing out, and I think he's answering a lot of questions about the quarterback position that we had talked about on the Giant overreaction for multiple weeks. I was looking at some of the graphics that I had here right before I did the Giant overreaction today. I was looking at some of the older ones, right? And this was one of the old ones that was up there from the last Giant overreaction we did about 3 weeks ago. And it was Tommy and Tyrod really showing us the issue is not the offensive line, it's the quarterback. And a lot of people are split on this. Some people took the push. I was trying to tell y'all most definitely that the pocket manipulation and the maneuvering in the pocket that you see from Tyrod Taylor, especially at the time of this this tweet that we had highlighted here, and seeing Tommy DeVito here, you're starting to see that saying that I've been saying for a long time, right? A decisive quarterback is the best offensive lineman. It's facts. And Tommy DeVito is kind of getting comfortable in the pocket. He was not sacked once in this entire game. I think before this game, I think Brian Dable probably didn't give him the go-ahead of like, hey, look, if you don't see it there on that first read or if you don't see it there on that second read, just take off, man, and run. And Tommy actually looked decisive in this game, man. So big shout out to him for just showing up, man, and not, allowing himself to be sacked on the entire day, because this was not a flawless performance by the offensive line by any means. This was a quarterback moving and maneuvering. A lot of the times that I thought he was going to take a sack, you see him find a way to climb up out of that pocket and get some yards on the ground with his legs. And we're going to talk about a couple Giant overreactions, but I definitely want to get to a couple little tidbits in this game because this one, it started off really ugly, to be honest. And, entering this game, Tommy DeVito, the QBR was looking real ugly. It's still not that great. His QBR is still under 30 for the entire season. That Jets game is not helping him out on that. But his QBR entering this game was 14.9. He had been sacked 28 times before entering this game. His best work came against the Washington Commanders, where he had 246 yards, 3 touchdowns. First undrafted rookie free agent quarterback since 1967 with 100-plus rating in consecutive starts. He now does it for 3 straight starts, y'all. And since throwing for -1 yards versus the Jets, DeVito has averaged 174 yards per game. That number's going to come down just a little bit after this one because he only had 158 yards on the day. Now, I talked about a little bit of these keys to victory if y'all pulled up for the preview show on Thursday, this past Thursday and whatnot. And I talked about how we had to get some pressure on Jordan Love. He had been playing well. I was trying to convince the Beard a little bit, though, that a lot of that was smoke. A little bit was facade, right? You can't take away what he's putting out there as far as productivity goes on the field. But when I looked at the tape from Jordan Love, I was not convinced. I saw a quarterback whose mechanics were extremely flawed. I won't say as flawed as a guy like Justin Fields, but extremely flawed mechanics. He came into that game with 4 straight games with multiple passing touchdowns, back-to-back games with 3 touchdowns. And y'all know the statistic I've been running with forever. Y'all already know consecutive starts in the regular season without putting together back-to-back performances with multiple passing touchdowns for Daniel Jones. That number is now at 39 straight starts. So you're seeing these younger quarterbacks come in who really aren't even playing that well, still finding a way to put up multiple passing touchdowns. Jordan Love had 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions over the Packers' 3-game winning streak. So he was playing some decent football. He was taking care of the football, and he didn't fumble the ball either. I talked about we absolutely needed some turnovers. The Giants came away with 3 turnovers in this game. They entered the game with 19 takeaways on the season. That was the 8th most in the NFL. I talked about how that was a little bit of a skewed number because you had so many turnovers in both the matchups going up against the Commanders. But the Giants defense is definitely finding a way to galvanize and play some better football right now. And I think a lot of that is dependent on the offense. I've told y'all that is very dependent that if this offense can sustain drives, keep our defense off the field, and keep them well rested, the defense is going to show up. It's almost starting to become like an automatic layup right now. Like if the offense can go out here and just put up at least a decent performance, our defense is going to absolutely show out. I talked about getting Saquon involved in this game. He had a pretty decent game. This was his 4th straight game against the Green Bay Packers with over 100 yards from scrimmage. The fumble at the end was a little bit sketchy. We're going to get to that. But Saquon Barkley only had 1 rushing touchdown coming into this game. He got 2 in this game, which is good for him. I know he's not going to be able to reach that incentive number. I believe it was 10 rushing touchdowns that we needed to see from him on the year for him to reach that extra $1 million in his contract. He's probably not going to get there on that. But they definitely got Saquon involved. He had 20 attempts in this game. This is like what I like to see from the New York Giants, right? Especially when you got a young quarterback out there, undrafted, rookie free agent. You put the running game behind him. The first carry of the day for Saquon Barkley was 10 yards, and that I thought we were right on the right path. But then he took a big shot, and things started to kind of go a little bit left through the middle of that game before he got it on track towards the end. And I talked about needing another high-level performance from this defense. That's exactly what we got, man. This young secondary has been showing out, man. You saw it from Jason Pinnock. You saw it from Deontay Banks. 2 clutch plays at the end of this game. We definitely going to get there. Going to talk about that a little bit. The Packers entered this game being the 7th seed in the NFC as far as the playoffs go. The Giants were just barely in the hunt. Not a lot has changed in that, but, getting to 5 wins is definitely, keeping us in the mix right now. I know a lot of y'all team tank. I know a lot of y'all are team let's get to the playoffs. I'm kind of like somewhere in between that. I'm looking at these games a little bit like they're meaningless games a little bit. But at the same time, when the Giants win, I feel good, especially being out here in D.C., man. I get to walk around, strut around with the jersey and whatnot, rock the blue, and have people ask me questions when I go outside and whatnot. I actually just bumped into one of my neighbors. I seen him. What was that? It was yesterday before the game I saw him. Or no, it was Sunday before the games, actually, because it was before the Jets game. And he had on like this super fly, like old school looking, like starter Jets, like hoodie, kind of like had like the vinyl kind of vibe on it. And I just seen him walking down the street, and I said, hey, that's a nice hoodie, bro, but I'm a Giants fan. I just moved in. I need you to know I'm a Giants fan. He was like, it's all good, man. My Jets can't win for nothing. And they ended up getting a dub as well. The Giants ended up getting a dub as well. So I can't wait to see this neighbor and get to chop it up with him about some New York football and see if he's actually from New York. But definitely a high-level performance from this defense. The Giants now are just making a little bit of a push for that 7th seed, but we do drop down to the 8th pick in the draft right now. So for team tank people, that's definitely not a good look. And for people that are looking for, the franchise quarterback that we absolutely need for this franchise, that kind of sets us back a little bit. We're kind of like running out of options here to get these quarterbacks. I do think a good batch of these quarterbacks are going to be drafted in the first round. So the Giants are going to have to find some way to be able to, either trade up, which is not going to be an easy thing. Shout out to Mike Too Nice, who was talking about that earlier on Twitter. He was like, yeah, it's not easy to trade up, man. You saw what the Carolina Panthers had to do to get that number 1 pick from the Bears last year and end up taking Bryce Young. So the Giants, I'm leaving this in Joe Shane's hands. You better go out there and get us our quarterback is how I'm feeling about it. Now let's talk about the game just a little bit more, and then we'll jump to the chat. I definitely want to get a bunch of questions from y'all. I want to highlight some of y'all, comments and whatnot, and get to talk with the fam and see the gauge of the fan base right now, see how y'all feeling about this, because this kind of win for me, it reels me back in a little bit, but I am worried about the quarterback situation a little bit. I think the first quarter was a lot of squandered opportunities in this game. The defense stopped the Packers on the first 2 possessions, and the Giants just couldn't get anything out of it. And I think that's extremely frustrating. That's been the story of the New York Giants, I'd say, since you could go all the way back to post-2016. Getting points on the board in the first half and in the first quarter has definitely been troublesome for the New York Giants. And a couple of false start penalties, some missed throws from Tommy DeVito early on. I do think that the winds were swirling a bit in the stadium. You saw it from Jordan Love, who was extremely inaccurate in this game. Tommy DeVito was inaccurate throughout that whole entire first quarter. And you had the drop from Hyatt, the first pass that Tommy DeVito threw, that little out route. Hyatt dropped the ball, and special teams was kind of looking shaky a little bit too. We end up getting a penalty on that one special teams play, and Randy Bullock ends up missing that early field goal. And I'm just like, man, this has just been the story of the New York Giants season. You had the controversial 4th down call and whatnot that extended the drive for the Packers early on in this game. And then that set up the jet sweep to Jaden Reed, who ended up scoring a touchdown, put the Packers up 7-0. And I put this note down, and I was extremely worried about this because DeVito's coming into this game playing some good football. He has had some slow starts, but also has not been, turning that ball over. But at the end of the first quarter, he didn't have any pass completed beyond the line of scrimmage. And that just reminds me too much of too many, passing charts that I've seen on Next Gen Stats from Daniel Jones, where I'm just like, how are we going to find a way to stretch the field, get this ball, at least throwing first downs and whatnot? When you're not throwing the ball above the line of scrimmage, that's definitely an alarming, statistic and whatnot. This was the 9th time that the Giants have been held scoreless this year in the first quarter. 9 out of their 12 matchups previous. That's 69% that the Giants are not scoring in the first quarter. That's not a recipe for victories. Second quarter comes along. DeVito kind of starts to get it, going a little bit. He gets the big run from Wan'Dale Robinson. 1st and goal from the 5. Saquon Barkley walks in. You get the LaDainian Tomlinson, little alley-oop layup kind of finger roll type of vibes for the celebration. It was just Saquon's 2nd rushing touchdown of the year. And the Giants tie it up 7-7. And, the Packers drove it right back down and get in the Giants' territory there in the green zone. 3rd down, Jordan Love fumbles. And I knew that one right off the bat. That's a young mistake you see from young quarterbacks. And I think Jordan Love can possibly get it together as a quarterback, but he's got to hurry up here, man. This kid, last year of his deal and whatnot, they had him sitting on the bench. I thought it was a bad pick from the Packers in general because you had your quarterback in Aaron Rodgers on the roster. You had just paid him $200 million, and then you go out there and you spend draft capital on a young quarterback that's going to be sitting the bench. You're going to waste his rookie contract for that long. A couple plays later, he ends up throwing that interception to Jason Pinnock, who played really good, man, all day long. I've been telling y'all on this channel for a long time, Jason Pinnock is absolutely a building block for the future. And, I just think that with this young secondary, right now the New York Giants have the youngest defense in the entire NFL right now, averaging an age of 25 and a half years old. Pinnock has absolutely got to be a part of this future. I've been telling people I think he's more important to the future than Xavier McKinney is because Xavier McKinney is probably going to be demanding some good money, right? And late down in the second quarter, the Packers got another chance with 2 minutes left, and Flock gets that pass interference call. And I'm just hoping that the Packers don't come away with a touchdown. The Giants defense bends but don't break. They end up holding them to a field goal. It's 10-7 at the half. And that first half, you got to just ball it up, throw it out for the New York Giants. To me, it was 2 bad teams playing each other, right? But I do think towards the end of this game, both of these teams ramped it up. DeVito was 7-10 for 48 yards at the half. Saquon had 9 rushes for 18 yards. He was averaging 2 yards per carry. And he had the 10-yard run on the first run. So, that's just not good. That's 8 carries for 8 yards. That's not a vibe right there. And Jordan Love, he didn't fare too much better. He was 13 of 20 for 116 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. He had a passer rating of 59.6. 3rd down, these teams were terrible in the first half. 1 of 6 for the Green Bay Packers, 1 of 5 for the New York Giants. No sacks from either team, so all the quarterbacks in this game not under too much pressure in the first half. 4 penalties apiece. And the third quarter comes around, and DeVito just starts showing up with them legs, man. He got the 26-yard run that got us down to the 1-yard line. I was hoping that he was going to, score a touchdown on that one. It could have padded his stats a little bit better. He definitely was the leading rusher at the half in this game as well. And Barkley ended up punching it in for his second touchdown of the night, his third on the season. Giants go up. Now, Packers go 3 and out. They punt the ball. I'm feeling great. And these are those windows of opportunities that I'm always talking about over here, okay? When you get a lead on a team, to try to push a game to a 2-score lead is so important. And on the punt ends up hitting Bobby McCain on the shoulder. And Green Bay starts right in the red zone. Kayvon ended up getting his first sack of the night, his only sack of the night, to push him over 12, which is amazing for Kayvon Thibodeau, who was, getting a lot of scrutiny, a lot of criticism, early on in this year. Y'all know about the WFAN incident with Carl Banks and whatnot, and it's looking like Carl Banks knows ball, and it's looking like them two other dudes don't really know ball. And I thought that was the case at the time, and I think that's the case right now in hindsight. So they get that field goal. It's 14-13. The Giants have the lead at that point, and DeVito gets another big run. Then they run that flea flicker, which the throw wasn't that great from DeVito on the flea flicker, but Wan'Dale Robinson, man, that dude showed up in this game. He ends up making a big catch. Giants in the red zone. Another good throw from Tommy DeVito. To me, this was the best throw of the night from Tommy DeVito, was that red zone throw to Isaiah Hodgins in the back of the end zone, where Tommy got flushed out of the pocket to his right, kept his eyes downfield, and just delivered an absolute dart. Perfect throw. Great catch from Isaiah Hodgins to get the feet down. The ball was like just high enough, to keep it in bounds, to give his wide receiver really the best chance to catch the ball. And the New York Giants end up going up 21-13. And the fourth quarter, I'm feeling comfortable. I'm really feeling comfortable in this fourth quarter. And the Packers end up start driving, right? And Ojulari gets the sack when they're like around in the green zone. They were around the 30-yard line. I think around like the 28 or something like that. And, I knew that when Troy Aikman announced that it was a 10-yard loss, I'm like, oh, this field goal is absolutely about to be a brick. I knew it. The winds was swirling all night. Both kickers was having some issues. You could see the Green Bay Packers kicker. He was sneaking some of those kicks in through the goalposts and whatnot. And I just knew he was going to miss it. And I thought that was a really pivotal point in this game when he missed that field goal. But the Giants offense did not capitalize. They went 3 and out again after that. And the Packers end up driving again. And Love goes deep on a third down. And I thought this was one of the better defensive plays of the day. When Deonte Banks got that PBU, like, man, he's almost out of position. He's kind of beat, gets the hand on the ball. It's a great play. But they ended up kicking a field goal to cut it to 21-16 for the Packers there. And then we just started to rely on Saquon. And I'm feeling real great about it. Saquon breaks off the 17-yard run. I'm like, yo, we are on our way. And then he breaks the big run. And I'm seeing Saquon run down that right sideline. I'm like, oh, this game is on ice right now. Kind of gets his feet clipped by the defender. And I didn't know that this rule was like this. But if you get your feet clipped by the defender and you stumble back and you start taking some more, strides and whatnot, they kind of look at that as you've regained momentum. Saquon falls to the ground. The ball pops out. It almost reminded me of this one. I remember when Eli Manning had like a little 10-yard run back in the day, and he tried to slide face first, and the ball just like popped out on him. Nobody touched him, and they said he didn't give himself up and whatnot, and end up being a fumble. And Saquon's was very similar. So now you allow, the New York Giants to pretty much have to go back out there on defense, and the Packers have another opportunity here, and the Packers drive down the field, man, and they end up putting this. I mean, it was so many opportunities on defense to end this game at the end of this one after the fumble. They returned 50 yards, and it goes to show you that you don't quit on plays. The referees didn't blow the whistle, and homie that picked up the fumble, he goes back, he gets 50 yards on this one. And Romeo Doubs, he barely got his feet down on 2nd and 4, and then they get the first down, with a little pass to Jaden Reed, and Jason Pinnock makes the second best play of the day. The pass breakup that he had, which absolutely looked like a touchdown in the center of the end zone. I mean, what a fantastic play by Jason Pinnock. This dude is making plays game in and game out. And I know a lot of people were sketched out about Jason Pinnock midseason when I've been saying this. Y'all been here probably since like week 6 that Jason Pinnock is absolutely a piece on this defense. But they end up getting a touchdown anyway. And this is when I'm starting to get worried. The Packers take that lead 22-21. And I want to share a clip with y'all that's from First Take here, which I thought they broke this down in the most dopest way. And I did not know that this was happening during the time. But now I'm looking at this like this is a great window for Tommy DeVito to go out here and put up some good tape. You're going to have a couple of minutes here to get the New York Giants in position to get in field goal range to be able to kick this game-winning field goal. Shout out to the king of Zamunda. Y'all, I know y'all seen the Eddie Murphy clip going around where when he was talking to McDowell and the McDowells and whatnot, and he said, "Did you see the game last night?" And he literally said the New York Giants versus the Green Bay Packers, and it ended where a ball made a pigskin went through the uprights. But this was Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp talking about this on First Take. Check out this clip, y'all.
You two are obviously more equipped to answer this question. That's why I'm going to ask. Instead of commenting about it, you see cats rallying around this.
For sure.
Kid. So I'm like, it says something to me because I'm like, wait a minute, those same dudes were not playing like that when Daniel Jones was behind center. Now, is that the coaching or is that the fact that these players believe in one more than they believe in the other?
Well,
y'all answer that question for me.
I can tell you, they feel it. Like so. I'll give you an example. Last night, when Saquon Barkley takes that thing, has that huge run, and fumbles it, and they end up getting the ball back. DeVito said he walked over to Saquon and like, let it ride because we're going to win this game. Like there are certain dudes who they got that thing about them, and guys rally around that. When there is a no die mentality in it, and there ain't no finger pointing, this dude's like, hey, let it ride, because I'm gonna go. That to me speaks volumes about a team getting behind somebody. Don't you agree, Shannon?
I agree 1,000%. There's something to be said instead of hoping and expecting.
That's
it
right.
seems to me that when DeVito's in the game, they expect to win. They don't hope, well, if we do this, if our defense get 5 takeaways, if we don't turn the football over, they believe. And you look at the way he was taking off running, Stephen A. He was decisive. He was trying to hit his head on the goalpost. He wasn't looking for a soft place to land. He was running with conviction. He's like, I'm running for a reason. There's a purpose why I got this ball under my arm. And you watch the way he threw on that final drive. He hit that sail right, and Wan'Dale Robinson turns the ball up.
That's it.
And like you said, the over, man, I don't know what it is, but they believe that he can get them a victory.
Now, y'all, there's so many great points in that clip right there, because a lot of football is not necessarily about how far one can throw the ball, how accurate a quarterback can be. A lot of it is just about the things that you really cannot pinpoint. A lot of it got to do with, is this guy a gamer? Tommy DeVito walked over to Saquon after he fumbled. You talking about Saquon Barkley, who's a 5-year vet, 6-year vet, whatever it may be, right? He walks over to 5-year vet. He walks over to him and he says, don't worry about it, bro. Like, I got you. This is why I've been screaming about the leadership, right? When you have a quarterback that cannot be the vocal leader on a team and the players around him feel like they can't rally around him. You remember the clip I shared with y'all where it showed Adoree Jackson looking at Tyrod Taylor in the locker room like, we got ourselves a guy here. Tyrod ends up getting hurt. And Tommy DeVito comes out here with all moxie, all straight moxie, right? Because when it comes to arm strength and arm talent, Tommy DeVito is not that guy, right? His intangibles as a quarterback, they don't even really pass the test, to be honest. A lot of people are saying that this shouldn't even be happening. People are trying to look for ways and who they can point the finger at as to why Tommy DeVito is playing such good football. The dude has an it factor. I'm convinced with that. Now, I see people talking in the chat saying, hey, you know, maybe Tommy DeVito could be a starter for this team and whatnot. I don't know if we could jump the gun on that yet. This was a 158-yard performance, right? But at the end of the day, there are things between the lines that win football games that aren't necessarily the intangibles of what the quarterback has. You look at Joe Burrow, right? He's not the kind of quarterback where you're going to see him at the combine completely lighting it up, making a throw like what we saw from Anthony Richardson in the last one, or like what we saw from Zach Wilson when he was in the combine coming out of BYU, and everybody was like, oh my God, no quarterback can make a throw like that, right? But there are certain things mentally that you cannot pinpoint from these quarterbacks, and I think that's the case with Tommy DeVito. When I saw Tommy DeVito in the preseason, I was like, wow, this kid can definitely move. The legs, he had that, and I think that's probably what attracted Brian Daboll and Joe Shane to him, is because he's definitely a savvy quarterback within the pocket who can dip, dodge, duck, dive, and do all that stuff, right? And he can evade pressure. The arm talent I thought was not there. Now, on this last drive, the Giants, you know, sitting there down by a point, you have to absolutely get the ball down the field and set your field goal kicker up to win this game. And the throw that he hit Wan'Dale Robinson on, just a great little post corner route. Wan'Dale Robinson catches it, gets some yak. You knew that game was over. These are the things that we have not seen from the guy that they paid all the big money to this year, right? The things that worried fans like myself when entering the year. I said, I think that the best option for the New York Giants would be to go bridge quarterback. If you're not going to draft your quarterback, Even if you draft a quarterback, you still could have brought in a bridge quarterback to be the insurance for your rookie quarterback, because you don't want to necessarily just throw out a rookie right to the wolves, right? At the same time, I looked at the contract when Joe Schoen gave Daniel Jones the contract, and I said, just make it make sense to me, right? Like, you paying this guy $40 million. His resume don't got much on the resume, right? We're talking about a guy who had 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a lot of the fan base completely lost their mind, and they were calling that a great season, right? And if you watched it game per game, you knew that Brian Daboll and Saquon Barkley were setting up Daniel Jones for immense success, right? The way that the New York Giants got to 7-2 early on in that season was on the back of Saquon Barkley. When defenses got a key in on Saquon Barkley, that makes things a lot easier for the quarterback. And I think the same thing goes for Tommy DeVito, but the big difference here is that Tommy DeVito's not even making $1 million a year. With Daniel Jones' contract, I had to look at it and compare it to the other quarterbacks in the league. Dak Prescott making $40 million a year right now. Geno Smith is making $28 million a year. Now let's go to the other quarterbacks who I said at the beginning of the season or in the offseason, at the end of last season, that were guys that could have been options for you. I thought Baker Mayfield could be an option. Baker Mayfield's making like $4 million. I thought that Gardner Minshew could be an option. He's making $3.5 million. I thought that Marcus Mariota could come in here and run this exact same offense that you saw Tommy DeVito run last night. A lot of, if the first read's not there, tuck it and run. If we need to run some read option with Saquon Barkley, you got the legs to be able to do it. You're durable enough. And that's the thing that I think that Tommy DeVito showed last night that separates him from Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor can do all the things in the pocket that Tommy DeVito can do. But did you see some of these hits that Tommy DeVito took last night when he would take off running? Did you see the one where they didn't call the flag on him when he slid to the ground and he got his head taken off almost, right? The dude's getting right back up after every one of these plays. He's showing you that he is one tough quarterback. To be a running quarterback in a read option type of system, and when you have a coach that's giving you design runs, you got to be able to take some hits because you're not going to be able to see them all coming, right? So you're going to have to be able to take some hits and be able to find a way to just get back up, get back in that huddle, and get the troops around you and rally your team to a victory. Man, look, that 1 minute, that 2 minute drill from Tommy DeVito last night, it wasn't really even a doubt in my mind the way that kid was playing. It really was not even a doubt. He just got that aura about him, and I think that's what a lot of the fan base in New York is really rallying behind. Whether he can be a piece for the New York Giants moving forward, it's yet to say. The verdict is not out yet, right? But this dude is on a 3-year, just under $3 million contract right now. We have him until 2025. He's absolutely a viable backup. But could you just imagine, because we could have had Tommy DeVito on the roster, right? Could you have imagined if the New York Giants would have just franchise tagged Daniel Jones or just allowed him to walk and at least go test the market and see what was going on? Because now we wouldn't be in this dilemma that Joe Schoen has put us in, which is Daniel Jones is absolutely going to be on the roster in 2024. There's no doubt about it. The dead cap hit for Daniel Jones is over $60 million. You cannot cut him. So he has to be on the roster next year. Tyrod Taylor is probably not going to be on the roster next year because his contract is up. He's going to be entering his 14th season. Tommy DeVito would be a perfect backup, especially if he could continue to play like this. He's cheap. He knows the offense. He would have a year under his belt underneath the Brian Daboll scheme already. It would have been the perfect situation for you to go out there, draft your quarterback, bring in the rookie. If you felt like Tommy DeVito could actually act as the bridge and the backup quarterback, it makes perfect sense. But a lot of Giants fans, they don't want to deal with coming through the mud to then go to the success, right? We saw some success last year, which we overachieved. We had a 9-win season. We went out there. We beat the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs. We then get dog walked by the Philadelphia Eagles, which really should have humbled people and brought them back down to earth and let them know where we stood within this division. But it didn't. People literally would ignore that game. And when we were going into the following season, all people could talk about was the Daniel Jones performance against the Minnesota Vikings, which we all know now were an extremely fraudulent ball club, right? So now we've put ourselves into a pickle. I saw the headline on that ESPN First Take clip was Tommy Pickles with the question mark. We absolutely have ourselves in a pickle of a situation right now because Daniel Jones has got to be on this roster. And there's no way to get out of that until you enter the 2025 season. So I don't know what the New York Giants are going to do. I talked to the homie Stan. Stan sent me that clip from ESPN First Take that I've shared with y'all. And Stan was telling me, I hope he don't mind me sharing this. I know he won't because Stan is a goon. Shout out to my guy Stan. That's my dude right there. He said he's got a feeling that the New York Giants might even go out here in this draft and not address the quarterback position, especially off in the early rounds. I'm hearing other people talking about that they're more comfortable taking a flyer in the late rounds. I'm not for that right now. I think the New York Giants absolutely got to go out there and draft a quarterback in the first round. And if you don't, you better do it early in the second round. Now, when you see a guy like Tommy DeVito, undrafted, rookie free agent, 3 straight games with a passer rating over 100, come in here and be able to run this offense, I think it does say a lot about what Brian Daboll can do with these quarterbacks. But at the same time, this offense has still been putrid this entire year. And they have not found ways to sustain drives. When this game was on the line and we really needed some drives here, the Giants were continuously going 3 and out. And you cannot do that. The Packers kind of gave us this game. And in the first quarter, had a lot to do with it. The squandered opportunities that the Packers gave us, that we squandered those opportunities as well, is the reason why the New York Giants ended up winning this game, to be honest. And down the stretch, both teams started to try to give you maximum effort. And you saw a better football game in that fourth quarter than you saw for the first 3 quarters. And for me, I just think like right now, it puts the New York Giants in a bind because Joe Shane and Brian Daboll absolutely deserve to be able to go out there and get their quarterback. They built this team a little bit, in the offseason, bringing in guys like Darren Waller, bringing in Saquon Barkley back on the 1-year contract. And I think it's important that you got to keep that unit kind of tight here as you make this transition with the next quarterback. I think Saquon Barkley is extremely important to the future of the next quarterback. A lot of people think, running backs fall off cliffs, and rightfully so. They have a good point in that. But I do think that it's going to be important to bring back Saquon Barkley. And to me, I look at it like this. Just don't let it get over like 12, 13 million. If you could keep Saquon Barkley on a deal for like $10 million, to me, it absolutely makes sense, right? Because you got players around this league that are making that kind of money that do not bring the kind of impact to their team that a guy like Saquon Barkley does. You got wide receiver 2s. I was just talking about this on Bleacher Report. You got guys like Christian Kirk getting paid $11 million, almost $11.5 million. Calvin Ridley, same thing. He's making $11 million. Tyler Lockett making $11 million. Terry McLaurin, who I think is a wide receiver 1, but he's making $11 million. Marquez Valdez-Scantling making $11 million. Tyler Boyd, who's a wide receiver 3 with the Cincinnati Bengals, makes $10.3 million a year. I think that you can absolutely spend that kind of money on a guy like Saquon Barkley. Okay, and I don't think you got to bring him back on another 1-year deal. They got to show some respect to the running back. And I know this might not be the right game to be talking about this after that big fumble, but nonetheless, he put us in position late in that game. They relied on Saquon in that fourth quarter to make big plays. I think that the reason why we are at 5 wins right now has a lot to do with Saquon Barkley and him being the identity of this offense. You got running backs like James Conner, Joe Mixon, and Aaron Jones all making around $8 to $10 million a year. That says to me that you can give Saquon Barkley somewhere, a contract somewhere in that range. You bring him back, I think it will absolutely help whatever the quarterback situation is next year. Because if you go out there and you draft a rookie quarterback and you remove the number 1 weapon from the New York Giants here, you're just setting that quarterback up to fail, especially if you don't address this offensive line in a major way. So I was a little bit split on this throughout the year because I understood how people were feeling about this. Like, I don't want to sign a running back, aging running back, 28, they all fall off the cliff, yada, yada, yada. I get it. It makes sense. But in this particular situation for the New York Giants, you absolutely, I think, got to bring back Saquon Barkley. And if they go out here and they don't address, like my homie Stan is saying, if they go out here and they don't address this quarterback situation in this draft, I'm going to lose faith in this front office. I really am going to lose faith in this front office. So an excellent win by the New York Giants. Our first victory Tuesday, man, in the history of Awthentik and the Beard. This is amazing. I think Daniel Jones, the record is 0-8 on Monday Night Football, and Tommy DeVito now is 1-0. So you got to put these players out there that when them lights shine bright on them, they're not scared of those big moments. And when I heard that from, I believe that's Jeff Saturday, when he said that Tommy DeVito went over there to Saquon Barkley and he said, look, man, we're going to go out here and win this game. Think about just imagine if you're on that team and that dude comes up to you and he says that after you made one of the biggest mistakes in the entire football game. That's going to re-energize you, And that's exactly what happened. And Wan'Dale Robinson, man, the way that they're using him coming out of the backfield, they're finally starting, they're figuring it out with this kid. They're really figuring it out with this kid. And I was telling the homie, shout out to the homie Momo one time in the chat, man. I hope all is well, fam. I was telling them in the group chat, he could be a Wes Welker, but you absolutely need an accurate quarterback. Those shorter wide receivers with the smaller wingspans and whatnot, you can't have a quarterback that's inaccurate working with these guys. You absolutely have to have a quarterback that can put the ball right on them in between the numbers. This is why NFL quarterbacks get paid that franchise money of $40 million a year, because you got to be dead accurate. You don't see this stuff with Joe Burrow. You don't see a running back coming across the middle or see a running back going out in the flats and the ball not right on him. You don't see that. So we cannot continuously keep making excuses for a quarterback that just can't get the job done, that they're coddling, that he's not the reason why the New York Giants are winning games. I can't say he's the reason why we're losing, but at the end of the day, all these people was telling y'all like, oh, we're going to look back at this contract and it's going to be a bargain. Do y'all feel like that today? We absolutely do not feel like that contract was a bargain. We feel like that contract is a detriment to us moving forward, and I laid that out for y'all. I laid that landscape out for y'all. We could literally have our backup quarterback on the roster right now, be going into 2024 with a rookie quarterback without this huge contract dark cloud looming over the New York Giants franchise that you cannot cut the quarterback. So now you've pigeonholed yourself and forced yourself that you almost absolutely have to go with Daniel Jones as the starter next year. So that's my thoughts on that whole situation. Like, I've been breaking this down now for days upon days upon days. I did a Bleacher Report stream late last night after the game, and then I did another Bleacher Report stream early on today. And today's Bleacher Report stream was all about the future of the New York Giants. We're talking about like the playoff picture and whatnot. And the New York Giants aren't out of it, but a lot of other teams have an easier way to get into that 7th seed. You got the Packers, you got the Falcons, you got the Seattle Seahawks out there, you got the Bucks even out there, you got the Saints out there. All these teams got an easier path, and you got the Packers sitting there at the 7th seed as well. They all got an easier path to get into that 7th seed than we do. So am I sitting here saying like it's likely that the New York Giants are going to make the playoffs? It's highly unlikely, y'all. But for me, when we win a game like this and you see them in the locker room and you see Joe Shane in the locker room doing this, did you see the hug that Brian Dable gave Tommy DeVito on the sidelines when the kick went through the goalpost, man? I ain't never seen that with no Daniel Jones. I've never seen that with Tyrod Taylor either. You feel that momentum. And when you got a guy that can lead them out there like that and take you to a victory in front of the whole world, I don't know if y'all saw Jordan Renan and everybody was tweeting out all the outfits that all our players was wearing because, people looking extravagant. Like Xavier McKinney had on like a outfit from the Matrix, right? Because they know what's up. This is prime time. Everybody in the world watching. It's unfortunate we had to share it with the Miami Dolphins, but everybody watching this game. And that whole DeVito time, that thing is gonna resonate through the entire NFL community. You didn't see no Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith talking about Tommy DeVito before this game. You didn't see that. But the reason why they're talking about it today is because it was in a primetime game. And these primetime games, when it comes to a narrative of what gets set about your team, most fans, I ain't even gonna say just most fans and content creators, they not watching other teams outside of primetime games. They not sitting up there with, the Octo box on their computer screen, looking at all these games at one time, going back, checking out tape, doing all these things. They're not doing that. And that's why their opinion of the New York Giants is skewed. That's why they thought that it was a great idea. That's why they thought it was the only idea and the only option for the New York Giants was to go out here and pay Daniel Jones. That's why they thought that, because they don't watch other teams. They're not out here studying the game the way that they should be if they're going to be trying to give people advice. Now, no one's going to be right all the time. I could not have sat up here and predicted that Daniel Jones was going to have the type of regression that he had this year. There's no way I could have predicted that. But I did expect an average quarterback at the end of the day. I thought he was going to be a little bit better, a little bit, more average than he was last year. Because last year, you win 9 games, and for your quarterback to come away with just 15 passing touchdowns is absolutely ridiculous. It makes no sense. Right? Especially when you got Brian Dable, who's considered an offensive guru, an offensive mastermind, and scheming this thing up where you're seeing Daniel Jones get multiple touchdowns in singular games here on the ground. You saw it against the Bears. You saw it against the Colts, where this dude goes to bootleg and there literally ain't nobody on half of the field, yo. And we praise that, right? Nobody talking about rushing touchdowns with other quarterbacks, but when it comes to Daniel Jones, oh, man, you guys are leaving out the rushing touchdowns. Even if you converted all the rushing touchdowns to passing touchdowns last year, and you just say he had 22 passing touchdowns. Whoop-de-doo, man. That's not that great. And I sat up here and tried to be even keel about it because y'all know how I do. I got to support my gang. I got to support my squad. That's what I do. I want to see the New York Giants win football games, right? And I'm a root for whoever's at the quarterback position. But you got to come out here and you got to prove it. This kid, Tommy DeVito, been out here for 4 starts, and right now looks like he's playing the game of football a lot better than our starting quarterback that they paid $160 million to with incentives guaranteed up to $90 million. I would have loved to have gone the cheap route. I would have loved to have gone a cheap route because now you would have money to build up this offensive line that everybody's complaining about, right? And people want to say, oh, well, build the team first. Do the Kansas City model. Do the San Francisco model, right? But those models they have not led to Super Bowls. They've led to Super Bowl appearances. And when you look at the Kansas City Super Bowl model, go back and look at the transition from Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes and look at how much of that roster got changed over. You're talking about almost half the roster was changed over. Yeah, they had their pieces in play. They had their tight end. They had their wide receiver in Tyreek Hill, and the money ended up being where they couldn't keep him around, right? They had a couple of pieces. They spent first-round draft capital on a running back in Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who barely sees the field now. That defense was completely revamped. The whole entire secondary, the linebacker core, all revamped. But I'm telling y'all, these people don't watch ball. That's what it is. And the group of gentlemen that I'm in a group thread with on my Twitter, this is why we all get along, is because there's no one in that group thread that don't watch ball for real. Like, we don't just watch Giants games. You got to check the pulse of what's going on around the league. And you got people that's trying to blow smoke telling you that Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Justin Herbert, that Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Jared Goff, that Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson. You know, people was running victory laps about the contract that we signed for Daniel Jones over the contract that was signed for Russell Wilson in Denver 1 year into the contract. Look at it now. Look at when you just have a little bit of patience and you wait. Look at it now. People were saying that Daniel Jones was better than Matthew Stafford. When I put out the top 10 list of quarterbacks entering the season, people were like, how you ain't got Daniel Jones at least number 9? Because I had Matthew Stafford and Dak Prescott on that list above him. These are quarterbacks that have shown you that they can do it on a consistent level, time in and time out. They're not having no one fluke season. And if you're going to hold merit to a quarterback having one bad season, let's call it Matthew Stafford when he gets hurt, or let's call it Russell Wilson when he gets traded over there to the Denver Broncos, why would you hold so much merit on just one decent season from your quarterback? I understand fandom can kick in, but at times you got to be realistic. Y'all know what it is, man. You can't be over here, at least on Awthentik and the Beard. You can't be too pessimistic. You can't be too optimistic. You got to keep it funky and be realistic. I'm going to try to do that all the time. That's just how I do. I got to look at the game, assess the game. And you got some people telling you that they still can't assess Daniel Jones because the offensive line is not perfect, because the wide receiver core and the weapons are not perfect. To me, it absolutely makes no sense. And before we go off into some of these giant overreactions, I just want to, highlight some of these super chats, man. Big shout out to all of y'all that have been supporting this channel, man, because listen, man, this channel right here, we all elbow grease. That's how we do over here with me and my homie, The Beard, right? We've been grinding this thing out with all lives, okay? We try to make it so that when we bring a production to a live environment, it doesn't feel like it's just a live environment, right? And that can be a detriment to your numbers and stuff like that. We're not doing no fugazi type of stuff on the side, juicing numbers, going to Fiverr, doing any of that stuff. We're trying to build a community over here of people that either want to know more ball or share their topics on football, or they know ball. That's what it is over here, man. So we appreciate when y'all come here and y'all support the channel. Man, I can't tell y'all how much that does. And then especially when we get a victory and I get to sit up here on a Victory Tuesday and chop it up with my gang all day, y'all, I'm blessed to be able to sit up here and talk with y'all. So big shout out to the gang, man. We appreciate all of y'all in here, man. First off, shout out to the homie Chris one time for the $4.99 super chat, man. I definitely appreciate that. He said, my fear now with how many games we have won this season will now not be able to upgrade the quarterback this offseason. Now, look, I was talking about this on the Bleacher Report just recently, y'all. So, as fans, right, and I think this is why a lot of fans get caught up in the tank time, tank season versus Tommy DeVito season and whatnot, is because we aren't in control of that. And we kind of want to pigeonhole and force the GM. We want to force his hand to make sure he gets us the quarterback, right? At the end of the day, they paid Joe Shane handsomely, and he got to find a way to go out there and get us that quarterback. There's no way they're sitting in that front office not thinking we got to address the quarterback. And now, as of late, I've been thinking like this. You got to trust Joe Shane and what he tells you. He's not the kind of GM that's going to go up there. Him and Brian Dable are very different. And I think that's why Brian Dable, almost looks like a son when they are side by side in some of these press conferences. And he just allows Joe Shane to just do what he does until Joe Shane looks at him and says, what you think about that? And then Brian Dable will chime in. But Joe Shane is not the kind of guy that's going to try to blind things a little bit and kind of throw not false information out there, but not give you the full details so that you can, hold him to that. He's a man of his word is what I've noticed, right? He said he thought Daniel Jones could win us a Super Bowl before they signed him to the contract. He said they see Daniel Jones as a part of the future. They want to get him on the roster. The goal is that Daniel Jones would come back and he will be the starter. And then they signed him to the contract. This last press conference, Joe Schoen said, we absolutely have to address the quarterback position. Tyrod Taylor's contract is up. Daniel Jones dealing with a knee injury. I trust him to go out here and address the quarterback position in this draft. Do what you got to do. I don't care if you got to trade some players. There's guys out here I think that might have some trade value left. Adoree Jackson's still on this roster. I think there's some players that you can finesse, even if you have to do addition by subtraction and find a way to get rid of some players that might not be panning out early to be able to get more draft capital to trade up and get that quarterback you need. You absolutely got to do what you do. And if let's say they're sitting at around 10, maybe 12, get you that quarterback. Even if you got to trade up to 6, 7, 8, you don't got to get to that one position to get your quarterback. I know everybody got their eyes set on Caleb Williams, Drake May. If I had it my way, we would absolutely have Caleb Williams in a New York Giants uniform. Absolutely. It's not looking like that right now. So you got to kind of check your options here and figure it out. I'm not a GM. I'm up here talking football. They don't pay me to do YouTube, right? I'm getting paid a little bit on Bleacher Report, so big shout out to Bleacher Report, right? So I can't sit up here and say I don't get paid to talk ball. But I don't get paid to make those kind of moves in the front office. Joe Schoen does. They're giving that man millions of dollars over a certain amount of years, healthy contracts. I trust him to do it. When you look at the Buffalo Bills situation, when he was over there, they were finding ways to finesse. Years before, they found ways to add draft capital by subtracting players on that roster that were not panning out and bringing in more capital so that they could trade picks and get Josh Allen in that draft. I think Josh Allen was drafted 7th. The Buffalo Bills had like pick number 21 to enter that year. So they found a way to finesse it. That's exactly what I'm expecting Joe Schoen to do this year. It's exactly what I expected him to do last year. But big shout out to Chris, man. Definitely appreciate you supporting the channel, man. That goes an extremely long way for us over here, man, because that's how we eat over here. We do 4 days a week over here, sometimes more on this channel with Awthentik and the Beard here. And, you know, this is how we fund what we do. This is how we can upgrade things that we do on this channel. And this is how we can keep this community thriving, to be honest, is when people support the channel. And y'all don't have to do this. Y'all go out of y'all way to do this. Y'all know I will be up here no matter what. These streams could be not monetized. We could have 2 or 2 million people in these streams. And y'all know how I'm going to do. I'm going to definitely be up here. But big shout out to Chris. Big shout out to the homie Talking Eco one time for the $1.99 super chat. He said Tommy D was like, forget the tank. I am the tank. And this was the first game that I got to see that. Like, Tommy DeVito was just trying to run people over. And when he, you know, the situational awareness, when he's running on 3rd down and he know he got to get that extra yard and he lowers that shoulder to get that extra yard, man, those are the things I love to see from my quarterback. Now, if he gets hurt doing that, I'm going to have a problem with that, obviously, right? But I think that Tommy DeVito so far is doing a fantastic job of showing how gutsy he is and how tough he is, man. And that's what you need at the quarterback position. You need a leader. I cannot wait, y'all, to see the sights and sounds from this game because I want to hear Tommy. I want to see how much moxie Tommy is really, throwing out there on that football field during these games. And the more he wins, the more moxie he's going to get. Y'all know that sports are built off of confidence, and Tommy DeVito is playing confident football right now. Big shout out to the homie Talking Eco, man. Talking Eco, you've been supporting us for a grip, man. Big salute to you, bro. Shout out to the homie Chris one more time for another $4.99 super chat, man. That definitely means a lot, big bro. He said, if the Giants do draft a quarterback, Dable might as well known he will probably be fired after next season. Okay, so I get what you're saying there. He's pretty much saying, like, they got to draft a quarterback because if not, Dable knows if with no success, he's going to be fired the following season. We know we cannot win with Jones. The second half of that, I think Brian Dable is good enough to be able to win with a quarterback like Daniel Jones, but what kind of winning are we talking about? Are we talking about just minimal success, just getting a over 500 type of record, things like that? Yeah, I think we can do that with Daniel Jones. But at the end of the day, man, this is a league right now in 2023 that is built on quarterbacks, man. We got to absolutely get the franchise quarterback in here. And, my thinking, when I used to have debates with people at the end of the offseason and whatnot, a lot of people were telling me like, oh, well, what's going to happen if you draft that quarterback? People still saying this. Like, nothing's guaranteed, when you have high draft capital and whatnot and you draft a quarterback. All right, well, you miss on the first guy. What you going to do then? You swing again. These first-round quarterbacks, these top 10 picks are costing you about $20 million over a 4-year span. Daniel Jones is costing us $40 million a year, y'all. Come on, you're still saving. You could swing and miss on multiple quarterbacks in the draft and still be able to be paying less money than what you're paying Daniel Jones on that contract right now. So to me, And like I said, y'all, I'm just a fan, right? And it's very obvious to me. It's just very obvious. Like, you're wasting dollars. And I get it. The NFL is big business. These dudes is throwing money around like nothing. Derek Carr and the Saints, that situation there, they're wasting some money over there too. I don't even understand why these quarterbacks are getting paid this kind of money, to be honest. The quarterback is an important position, but when you see like, you know, a premier wide receiver one like an A.J. Brown making $12 million, like, okay, I get it. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, but should he be making that much more money than A.J. Brown? I don't know. I think we got to find a way to balance out the pay scale and the market for these quarterbacks, which I think is never going to happen. The salary caps are going to continue to keep going up, and quarterbacks are going to continue to be the cream of the crop and getting paid all kinds of money. To me, it makes no sense, and I think it's going to take somebody to just break the mold. Like, listen, if you can build a franchise with a reputation of winning, people are going to want to come to that destination to play football. Patrick Mahomes is taking a team-friendly deal. Why is Daniel Jones the 5th highest-paid quarterback in the league right now when it comes to AAV? It makes no sense, right? Patrick Mahomes would take a pay cut. Tom Brady was taking pay cuts, and all they was doing was winning Super Bowls through that Tom Brady era with the New England Patriots. So somebody got to break the mold. And you thought that it would be the Patriots showing you the blueprint, you know, and the manuscript here for people to do that. But teams are not following suit. I don't understand it. Shout out to my homie, man, fellow content creator, the homie Sneaky G, man. I hope all is well, fam. Good to see you in the building. I appreciate the super sticker. He ain't really have much to say, man. Just threw out the super sticker there one time. I'm sure he's extremely hype about this victory that we just got here, man, on Monday night. So big shout out to the homie Sneaky G. And Chris, man, Chris loading us up with these super chats. Chris, I definitely appreciate that, bro. He says, if we do not draft a quarterback, I believe Dable gets fired after next season. I'm right there with you, man. I think that, you know, the way that Brian Dable overachieved in 2022 gave him the extra year of a buffer, right? Because if Brian Dable would have came out here in 2022, and let's say the Giants would have been like a 4-win team, like, you know, people thought we were going to be, or a 5-win team, and then you come out here and you regress the way you did this season, he would absolutely be on the hot seat going into 2024. I thought it bought him another year. So 2024 is going to be extremely important. If they don't draft a quarterback, yeah, I'm right there with you. Brian Dable's probably likely going to get fired, because what are you going to do? You're just going to try to rely on Daniel Jones to get you to the promised land? It's probably not going to happen. Big shout out to Chris, though, for supporting the channel. My homie Keith Wilson Jr. is in the building. What's going on, fam? I hope all is well. He sends in that $4.99 super chat. He said, salute my G. Man, that kid Tommy D. But I got too hype over the play Tayway made on that deep ball. Oh, man, Tayway. I like the nickname already. I was kind of like, well, what are you saying right there, man? Deontay Banks on that deep pass, man, that's lockdown corner stuff right there. That's not no average Joe. And you see everybody talking about it today. Deontay Banks, that's another pick for Joe Shane that's looking real good. And he says, Banks close after 4 p.m. You on the Bleacher Report app? Yes, I am, man. And if y'all are on the Bleacher Report app, man, open that app up. Go find my latest stream. If you just look in the Giants community, all my latest streams are going to be at the top of the feed there, man. Big shout out to Bleacher Report for giving me the opportunity, man. And shout out to the homie Mason, man, for plugging that, man, and telling people, like, you guys got to go out there and check out Awthentik and The Beard, man. They're doing great stuff on their channel, and that's kind of what led to Bleacher Report giving us that opportunity. So, yeah, I did a stream earlier on Bleacher Report at 11 a.m., and I did one last night at 11 p.m. So we just been streaming, bro. I'm excited. The New York Giants won. It's been dope, man. It's been a great vibe the last couple of days. So big shout out to Keith Wilson Jr., man, for recognizing that. I appreciate that, bro. And last, we got another one from Talking Eco. Appreciate that, fam, for the $4.99 super chat. He said, what I got from yesterday is that JD or even MPJ will be cooking in this offense. Most definitely, bro. Like, for me, if I can have the ideal quarterback situation, it would be Jaden Daniels. I think you put him around a guy like Brian Dable, and even if Mike Kafka is still here, you can groom him in a major way. He's got to put on some more pounds. He's got the light frame. He kind of be looking like me out there a little bit. I'm about 6'1", 160 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm lightweight out here one time. And Jaden Daniels, I remember like just a couple of days before the Heisman announcing and whatnot, you know, people trying to throw shade on Jaden Daniels. Somebody put together like a compilation of all these bad plays from Jaden, right? And the dude was taking some monster hits. But the thing that I loved about him is that he just got right back up. You didn't see him like on the ground, you know, all hurt. And I think you need that. You need that toughness out of your quarterback. It's extremely important to be able to have a guy behind the center that you can, rely on like that, availability-wise, and also just leading the team. And I think that Jaden Daniels is a great leader already. He's got the arm talent. He's got the legs. I think that's most important for me. I'm sick of this pocket passer stuff. Get me a guy who's dynamic. Go out there and get me baby Lamar Jackson because he's going to be out there making plays, man. So big shout out to Talking Eco for supporting the channel. I'm right there with you, man. I think either would cook in this offense. That's a fact, man. Michael Penix, is not the greatest running quarterback, but he has the capability to do so. A lot of people, the red flags are the injuries, but, man, people get hurt in this game. He's recovered now, and he's shown you the resiliency to be able to bounce back. He transferred over to Washington. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the entire nation right now. I would not mind either one of them. So if we get, a later draft pick, hey, sign me up, man. Michael Penix Jr., Jaden Daniels, I don't mind. I'm kind of trying to stay away from the Bo Nix type of situation and the J.J. McCarthy situation. I just feel like both those guys, they don't have the dynamic trait of like being a true real playmaker outside of their arm talent. I think Bo Nix has really good arm talent. I'm not going to be extremely upset, but just go out there and just get me the quarterback, man. Big shout out to Talking Eco, though. We definitely appreciate that. I see the homie Ben Dawson is in the building. What's going on, Ben? Yo, Ben, you already know I was on Twitter. I'm calling for the smoke, man, because a lot of people, their narratives get followed. And I'll never try to spread any kind of narrative on any one of these platforms, right? But my thing is just call it like you see it for real. Stop trying to like lean people into, the thinking that you have, which is the New York Giants only have one option of what they need to do in this offseason, in the previous offseason. And Ben Dawson was asking me about these streams bright and early today, man. I definitely appreciate you pulling up. And honestly, bro, like you the reason why I was like, man, let's go live with a Giant Overreaction today instead of doing the recap show. The Washington Commanders were on a bye today. I said, man, let's get a beer to buy today, man. Let him just chill out and get back to some business. We both are, self-operated businesses, man, entrepreneurs out here, man. And you need those days, man. Like you really need those days. And putting your foot into this content game, it's not easy because I'm not going to come up here with no notes, with no kind of game plan and just kind of be up here just trying to wing a stream for y'all because I think that's doing y'all a disservice. Like everything we've ever done on Awthentik and the Beard has a game plan behind it, a strategy behind it, what we're going to talk about, the type of teams we're going to talk about. We focus on the NFC East to the T, y'all. And when Ben Dawson was like, yo, you let me know what time and I'm pulling up, I had the Bleacher Report stream, but I was like, man, let's get this Giant Overreaction popping. I know a lot of people probably want to check this out after getting that victory on a Tuesday, man. So big shout out to you, Ben. I definitely feel you on that. And let me see. He said, I want to bring a little attention to what he said, though. That joint is kind of freezing up on me there. I can't really read it. Let me see. He said the New York Football Giants will not draft Daniels or Penix Jr. I don't know, bro. They better consider it, man. And y'all know what it is. Yeah, some people they just don't like that play style. But also a lot of people don't want that type of quarterback here. They don't want that swag. That's why they didn't like Odell Beckham. That's why Beckham split the fan base. Because he had that outgoing personality and he showed it on the field. And to me, I like that. Like wear the chip on your sleeve. Those type of guys really want to win. And you saw that from Odell Beckham. And a lot of the people that were on that team during that time, they'd be sitting on that sideline looking at Odell like, bro, why you going crazy? We down by 2 scores. This game's over. And Odell's just trying to get back in the game. So big shout out to those type of personalities, man. I'll always support those type of personalities. It's why I was in support of Kadarius Toney until he really fumbled the bag, to be honest. You give people their opportunities no matter what kind of, cut cloth they come from, what neighborhood, what background, what ethnicity, all of that. I'm willing to give anybody a chance. But once you give me the data that proves otherwise, I got to jump off that train and try to figure out another way. And I feel the same way about Daniel Jones and his performance on the field as I do about Kadarius Toney with his performance off the field and on the field and his antics off the field as well. I wish both of them well, and Daniel Jones definitely going to be on this roster. And shout out Ben Dawson, 10 toes down for y'all. Bring that spicy. You already know, dog. I'm Haitian. We definitely going to bring that spicy. You know what I'm saying? We're going to give you that dewey and that sauce bar and all that stuff. We're going to keep it funky over here. All right, man. Big shout out to all of y'all, man, for pulling up. Let's get off into some of these Giant Overreactions, though. I think I got like 3 or 4 of them here today. Let me just make sure we all good and all, got everything uploaded and whatnot. We talked about the Tommy football one. All right, so we got 3 overreactions to go over. This was not an overreaction, as you can see. The one that's been on the screen for this entire stream, it has not been an overreaction. I think this was absolutely spot on. Shout out to the homie, man, who posted this on Twitter like about 4 weeks back. I think this was absolutely spot on. But let's get off into it. Everything's going to be quarterback-centric today. Y'all know what it is. We talking about the quarterback situation. The people who got this wrong, they didn't want to talk about the quarterback today. I had people in my DMs and on my Twitter talking about, hey, man, why are we still talking about a quarterback that's been hurt now for a couple of weeks and whatnot? I'm like, well, that's all y'all talked about in the offseason was that contract and how we were going to come back. We're going to look at that contract and think, oh, yeah, that's a bargain. All people was telling me was, yo, wait till Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson all sign their contract, and then we'll be able to look at Daniel Jones' contract and we'll feel great about it. Well, I don't feel great about it today. Let's get off into this first giant overreaction. This one just flat out. I thought this was wild. Shout out to the homie Diggy for posting this one. I thought this was just reckless from the homie Diggy. Another content creator. If you like Giants content, make sure y'all go support Diggy546 on YouTube. He puts out some really good stuff. He analyzes tape. He does recaps, previews, all of that stuff. Draft stuff, mock drafts. Definitely go show the homie Diggy some love, man. He's doing some great things over there with the YouTube channel. He says, Tommy DeVito is better than Daniel Jones. I'm muting this post. Now, for those of y'all that are new here, this is how we do. If indeed you think this statement on the screen is facts, put a U in the chat to represent that you are taking the under, which means you agree with the statement on the screen. If you think that this is an overreaction, put an O in the chat to represent that you are taking the over. Reaction, hence the name of this show. And if you think you need a little bit more time, you need a little bit more of that from your boy Tommy DeVito, you can take the push. And you can put a P in the chat to represent you were taking a push. Let me pull up the comments here one time and see what the gang is talking about. I knew this one was going to split the room a little bit, man. Big shout out to all of y'all for joining today, man. Darius Smith said Diggy is amazing. That's facts right there. All right, let me scroll back just a little bit, man. My man Stan in the building. Stan, I was giving you big flowers. I don't know if you've been here. You said Sock Passe. I've been giving you big flowers, bro. Big shout out to the homie Stan one time in the building. That's my little nephew one time. We still got to link up. All right, so James Hollister started this one off and he said, DeVito is a diet Bo Nix. I don't know, man. DeVito got some legs. I think Bo Nix might have better arm talent than DeVito. Forever NYG says that this is indeed an overreaction. I ain't mad at that. Big dog status with the laughing emoji. Shout out to homie Big Dog status in the building one time. Gregory, the resident Dallas Cowboys fan, he said he taking the push one time on this one. The Giants realist says he agrees with the statement on the screen. He's taking the under on this one. I like that. I like that. Dude, we going to get spicy today, for real. Crypto Moves is in the building. What's going on, fam? I hope all is well with you. He says, this is an overreaction. The game plan and O-line are better now than week 1 through 5. I can agree with that to an extent. You know, we did see Tommy DeVito get sacked 28 times in his previous outings. And yesterday's game, he definitely did not get sacked one time in that game. I just think Tommy kind of manipulates better, man. He can extend the plays, but that offensive line, we got to get them their props too. They're playing better football, and I think a lot of that has to do with the quarterback position. So I think, you know, with Tommy DeVito being a little bit more decisive, that helps the situation out. One hand wash the other. Y'all know that's one of the sayings over here at Awthentik in the Beard. But I agree with you. The offensive line is definitely playing better now. That's a fact. The homie Jax is in the building. What's going on, Jax? Hope all is well. Jax said he's taking the under. He agrees with the statement on the screen. Jackson Beta in the building. What's going on, Jackson? That's a dope logo. I never seen Jackson Beta in the building one time. Appreciate you pulling up. Hope you digging the vibes. Jackson Beta says it's an overreaction. Vince Purdy in the building taking the push one time. The homie Brent is in the building. He's taking the under on this one. He agrees with the statement on the screen. Dom Dizzy in the building. What's going on, Dom? Dom says it's an overreaction. James Jones in the building also says it's an overreaction. Big shout out to James one time. He be in the building a lot. The homie Steven is in the building. Yo, hey, Steven, what's up with the content, bro? I'm trying to see some more content from you, man. I liked some of the tape you was breaking down. Hearing that clicker, man, that's the vibe right there. Shout out Steven. He says he agrees with the statement on the screen by taking the under, along with Michael Myers. Shout out Michael Myers one time in the building. Another Michael in the building, Cedron. I try to give you my best Telemundo voice. Michael Cedron in the building one time. Hope I said that right. He taking the under as well. Snack Daddy Kiss. That's a fire name, too. We got some new people in the building. He said he taking the under. Definitely has more balls. That's facts right there, man. And like Tommy DeVito, you know, a lot of it has to do with that when you got to make those plays that really count. You know, quarterbacks with the skill set and whatnot, they can sit back when things are going well, check downs, make the little throws across the middle, you know, the 6.2 yards per attempt type stuff. But when you need somebody to go out there with 1 minute left on the clock and give you an Eli Manning type of performance, I think Tommy DeVito gives us the better chance of most of the quarterbacks on the roster right now. Big shout out to the homie Snack Daddy Kiss one time in the building. Brandon Plays is taking the under. He agrees with the statement on the screen too. Bergs is in the building. Bergs is taking the push one time. Let's see what Bergs had to say about this. Bergs said he's been so good against some meh at best teams. Let's see what happens versus the Eagles. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Patriots. Washington Commanders. Nah. Green Bay Packers Fugazi. I'm definitely with you on that. And I don't know if he can go out there and get victories against the Philadelphia Eagles, but it's all about how he plays. You want to see if he can play high-level football against high-level teams. He might be catching the Philadelphia Eagles at the perfect time, too. They're coming off 2 tough losses to the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. And, man, Dak Prescott been playing some great football, man. Leading the NFL in passing touchdowns right now. But shout out to the homie Bergs one time. Shout out to the homie Roboticon in the building. He said he's taking the push. Kareem Yee is in the building, taking the under. He agrees with the statement. DeVito got moxie. I love that word, man. Shout out to Johnny Moxon, man. That's one of my favorite football movies, too, man. I always go back and look at Varsity Blues. That's a good one, man, with lifestyle meets football. I definitely dig that one. Big Dog Status said he's taking the push on this one. I'm low-key leaning towards taking the under, though. I'm with you on that. That's where I'm kind of at with it, too, right now, Big Dog. Darius Smith taking the push. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets says it's an overreaction, but he is more fearless. I like that. I'm not mad at none of these takes right here. I knew this one was going to split the room. Alfredo Andres is taking the under on this one. Lamamba James in the building says he's not more athletic, but almost got a point, taking the push. I think DeVito is more athletic. I really do, because to me, right, when it comes to athleticism, there's something about the natural knack and having like swag as well. Like, when you see AI dribble a basketball, you know that comes from the athleticism that he has. When you see Steph Curry dribble a basketball, you know that comes from the athleticism that he has. When you see LeBron James be able to do similar type of dribbling, leap up, block somebody's shot from running all the way down the court, dunking on people, doing it all. To me, that's like versatile athleticism. Daniel Jones really don't got none of those. Daniel Jones, to me, is sneaky athletic. That's the way that I would describe Daniel Jones, because he is athletic. I used to say he wasn't athletic. I ain't gonna lie. But he'd be finding ways to make plays. But I think a lot of that is an extension of what Brian Dable presents to the table as a head coach. Shout out Stan. He said, I saw a hot take today that was crazy at first, and I had to think about it. Someone said DeVito's personality matches the NYC, New Jersey area and the fan base more than Eli and Jones. You know you're supposed to leave Eli Manning up out of this, right? That's a hot take. I'm glad you said I saw a hot take. That's a hot take. I definitely think his personality fits more of what's going on with Daniel Jones, for sure. Eli Manning, I think the only reason why I'm reserved is because of what Eli Manning did on the field. But the personality, I don't think it matched New York, to be honest. But in the long run, it did, you know. Shout out Max Custom Kicks one time in the building. I saw the at on Instagram too, bro. I saw some of your work, man. Real dope. Said he taking a push, but Tommy D has been looking good. If he beat the Saints and is competitive versus the Eagles, then he is most definitely better than DJ. I feel you. I definitely feel you on that. I like this. One of the more accurate takes, I feel like. Eric Rivera says it's an overreaction. Tommy is given the same game plan as DJ from last year. He actually takes some shots down the field, though. Yeah. And I think that's the only time we saw Daniel Jones thrive was the game plan from last year. Outside of that, you could say the first year with Pat Shurmur, too, a little bit. You did see Daniel Jones taking his shots before they tried to correct his mistakes within the pocket and his turnover problems. When they corrected that, it kind of morphed Daniel Jones into a reserve type of quarterback, and he lost his moxie that I felt the little bit that he had. He lost it then. But that's a good point you make right there, Eric. Jax is in the building, too. Jax says the team plays better with DeVito than they did with Jones. It's just straight facts. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that. That's why quarterback is such an important position, the most important position in all of sports, man. Like what a quarterback can do. It's almost like a pitcher in baseball in a way, because you are in control of the game and you dictate the pace, the tempo, and what happens in the game. Everything is coming off you. So I'm right there with you on that one, Jax. That's a good take. Brent said he's taking the under, but Dimes fans won't agree. That's facts. Odell Perry Pittman is in the building. He said he's taking the under. Jones is more athletic and has a bigger arm, but DeVito is a better quarterback. I think that Jones has the bigger arm, but I think that DeVito is more athletic. And I make the basketball reference because basketball, you really get to find out who's athletic when you see him on the court. You know, like you got some basketball players who play the game like Kyle Korver, you know, spot up type of jumpers and whatnot, and they're not really that athletic. And I think that with Daniel Jones in comparison to DeVito, I think I could see DeVito kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see Daniel Jones, you know, catching somebody's ankles on a basketball court. And I know that don't necessarily translate over to football, but when I think of athleticism, I think of agility. And I don't think Daniel Jones has a lot of agility, but I agree with the second half of this 100%. Let me see. Michael says that DeVito has that Italian aura. He plays with high levels of confidence and has nothing to lose. Yeah, and I think that is a big part of his game. the way that he's played so far, a lot of it has to do with like, yo, there's nothing to lose. You're in the NFL now. They're giving you an opportunity. Go out there, let it loose. Like, I can just imagine the conversations. I love when they show his father in the stands, man. Like, he's telling his family, calm down, y'all, calm down. It's not over yet, and like really keeping people reserved and whatnot. But then when his son go out there and ball, you just see him. He's just out there. It's a beautiful thing, man. I love stories like that. And I want to see Tommy just get better and better and better. I wasn't sold on Tommy the first game. When I saw him against the Jets, I'm like, why is this guy on the roster? Okay, this dude had -1 net passing yards in the entire game. I'm like, he's not cut out to be a quarterback in the NFL. But he's starting to show you that once he get a little bit comfortable, and you let him get some reps. I remember somebody said this to me, and I was like, I don't know, bro. After that game against the Jets, somebody in the chat said, he needs those reps with the ones. I was like, I didn't want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was jaw hating. I can keep it funky and say that. I was jaw hating, right? And now you see when he's getting the reps during the week with the ones, he's going out there and he's balling out, man. So big shout out to Tommy DeVito, man. He's doing big things right now in New York. It's a great story. A dude who played his high school championship just miles away from the stadium. Can you imagine the people that know him? Like, imagine if you grew up with that dude and now you're seeing him on TV and this dude's doing, like, it's absolutely crazy, man. It's a beautiful story. But that's a good point you make there, Michael. I see a couple more pushes here in the building. Mobster Music is in here. What's going on, Mobster? I hope all is well. Darius Smith with the push. CJ Talks Movie says it's an overreaction. Kevin W. says he taking the under. The proof is in the pudding. I like that. Chaz G is in the building. He says he sees the field better than Jones. I agree with you on that. Roboticon taking the push. We got an under from Darius Smith. Right now he is, but I want to see DeVito play well against a real team. If he beats the Eagles, especially on Christmas. See, and for me, it's not just about a victory. It's about how you play. Tommy DeVito has been playing clean football, not turning the ball over. We all know when you go up against the Philadelphia Eagles, our defense is going to have to show up. So in a game where, let's say, we lose, but the Philadelphia Eagles come out on top, I'm going to be looking at Tommy DeVito with a keen eye to see, how he plays and how he operates this offense against high caliber offense. Yo, shout out, man. I didn't even know that was the homie Mike C one time, man. Big salute to Mike C, man. Mike C no ball out here one time. That's my guy right there, man. Salute to you, fam. Good to see you in the building. Let's Go is in the building, says it's an overreaction. Shout out Let's Go. I haven't seen you here in a minute. Let me see what else we got. CJ says, screw it, I'm going to push. I feel you, bro. We kind of convincing you up here. The chat here, man, at Awthentik and the Beard, they always dropping gems. They make me think about a lot of the opinions that I have too. And I always use almost like a big, large, grand scheme of everyone's opinions to try to weigh in on my opinions. My girl don't like when I say this sometimes. I hope she's listening right now. I always say, you got to convince me, because I am a stubborn type of person. And I am going to stick to my opinion until you can make me pivot from that opinion. And the chat does do that. If you can present the right stuff, I'll pivot off the opinion. Like, I came into this one thinking, under. I'm thinking under. Tommy DeVito's better than Daniel Jones. But some of the stuff that I'm seeing here in the chat kind of leans me a little bit more towards, taking a push on this one. I'm going to keep it funky with y'all on that one. And Kevin W., good point here. Jones is all straight line athleticism. That's exactly what it is, and I got to agree with you on that one. Now, I just don't know how much of that is athleticism, to be honest. Payback says, DJ is fast, but isn't athletic to me. And that was my kind of take about 2 years ago. That's how I felt about him. Like, okay, he can get out, he can run. If you put him in a straight line, he's fast. But put some defenders there. I would love to see Daniel Jones cone drill numbers and stuff like that. I'm sure it's not great. And athleticism has a lot to do with agility. That's my take on it. Let me see what the homie. I see Chaz G is in the building. He said he's from here and they aren't. I like that. I definitely like that. Yo, Jared said DJ is a wet sock. Come on, bro. That's tough right there. And Darius said that Eli's play spoke for itself. So I think we split on this one, y'all. We're definitely split on this one. Like, some people think, they're going to take the under on this one, that Tommy DeVito's better. It's a small sample size. But when you look at that small sample size, and if you were to break it down into percentages, Tommy DeVito's got the higher percentage right now. He's playing good football in a limited capacity. He hasn't played too many games, but he's definitely playing some really good football. It's good to see all these comments here in the chat from the fan, man, because, this Tommy DeVito story is incredible, and I think it's got a lot of people talking, and it's got a lot of people second-guessing their opinions on the quarterback that we had at the starting position, second-guessing their opinion, like how I was on Tommy DeVito, thinking that this guy was not a capable quarterback. He's going out here, and he's definitely balling out, man. Shout out to Strider one time in the building. He says, I got to give props to DeVito. The pass he made to Wandale was amazing. Yeah, and the one to Isaiah Hodgins in the back corner of the end zone, man, good God. I think he just got to work on the consistency. I noticed when he was walking off the field, right, he ain't been in the weight room. His build is not like it kind of reminded me of Daniel Jones when you first saw Daniel Jones get in the league. and then Daniel Jones started hitting that weight room, and you started to see the man body kind of come out. I'm waiting for Tommy DeVito to start hitting the weight room in the offseason and bulk up a little bit. You see the lack of arm strength on these deep down the field shots. On the interception earlier this season to Jalen Hyatt when the ball came up short. You saw it on the play that Wan'Dale Robinson made on the flea flicker. The ball's just coming up a little bit short there. I think he could work on the arm strength a little bit. But nonetheless, man, he's an undrafted rookie free agent. He's got, he's got a lot of room to improve, but he's definitely setting the bar high, like we like to talk about over here on Awthentik in the Beard. Let me see. I'll bring some attention to this. Alex been on Twitter definitely, against a lot of my opinions and whatnot. He says, people saying you or P are the same MFers who said Tyrod was going to beat out Jones as a starter last year. I don't think that the New York Giants gave Tyrod Taylor an opportunity to beat out Jones. There was all that talk about Brian Daboll was making things more difficult for Daniel Jones than he was for Tyrod Taylor. And I don't think that quite came out. Like, people kind of like just, I won't say assume, but they kind of put two and two together to make that happen. When you saw Tyrod Taylor play this year, he absolutely should have beat out Daniel Jones for the quarterback position. I think John Mara had a lot to do with it. When I was at camp for the Washington Commanders, right, I got to see the first day of camp for Sam Howell, okay? They knew he was going to be the starter. There's nothing that Jacoby Brissett could have done in camp to win out that job. They were set in stone with going with Sam Howell. I think the same thing was for Daniel Jones with the New York Giants. I don't know if it was Mara. I'm not in the front office. I don't know what's going on. But all the vibes, this guy comes out, you're getting first-team reps. Tyrod Taylor getting no first-team reps throughout all of minicamp that year. There's no way that they were going to put Tyrod Taylor as the starter. And I think that that's why they paid Tyrod Taylor the minimal amount of money that they did pay him. But I think Tyrod Taylor proved that he's a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. He's more savvy. His pre-snap reads are way better. He's better in the pocket, better pocket manipulation. He can run all that read option stuff. I do think that Daniel Jones is more durable while running that read option stuff, at least from the sample size we saw from 2022. But then Daniel Jones got hurt this year too. Tyrod Taylor's an injury waiting to happen. They're both injury-prone quarterbacks. But if I had to choose one to start right now, I'm going Tyrod Taylor. I remember Emory Hunt came out in the offseason before 2022 and said, don't be surprised if through about 5 or 6 games, if Daniel Jones is not playing well, that the lease is going to be very short and they'll put in Tyrod Taylor. And people gave him a bunch of flack for it. I actually went back to Twitter and gave him props on it because he was absolutely correct. You come into this year, they get a little bit of tape on Daniel Jones, a little bit of tape on Brian Daboll, and Tyrod Taylor absolutely proved that he was a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. People will say, well, Tyrod Taylor only put up 14 points against the Commanders, whatever they want to say about that. You just got to use your eyes, man. Like, you can know what a good quarterback is. And this is Tyrod Taylor just in his 2nd season with the New York Giants, not his 5th season like Daniel Jones. But I feel you. A lot of people don't want to, they want to die on a mountain. They want to die on a hill because they're still big supporters of Daniel Jones. And I don't knock nobody for still supporting Daniel Jones. But, like, listen, you got to, like, the facts are the facts. He's out here playing. He's had multiple starts. Let me give you some numbers on Daniel Jones that I think I have right here that are just so alarming. Outside of the 39 straight games without having multiple games with multiple passing touchdowns, like, you cannot be a starter in this league and have numbers like that. That's just not the vibe. But Daniel Jones, when you look at his career, I'm trying to find the numbers here one time. It's 60 games. In 60 games, he has 64 turnovers, 40 interceptions. He's had his opportunity. I'm okay with the evaluation at this point in time. But if people want to support him, I'm not here to tell people how to fan, right? I'm not here to tell people how to fan. But at the end of the day, Daniel Jones is probably the worst quarterback we have on our roster right now. That's just what it is. Shout out Jax. He said, I know this is off topic, Awthentik in the Beard. Who was your favorite receiver in the draft? Mine is Rome Odunze. Odunze's a dog. I mean, you got to go Marvin Harrison Jr., I think. But if I wouldn't go Odunze next, I would go Malik Neighbors. Or I like Keon Coleman out of Florida State. I think he's a guy. His last game wasn't that great, but I think Keon Coleman is definitely a guy. But I think Odunze is at the top of the list, man. That dude can do it all, man. Like, the last game they played in, man, the catch he made in the corner of the end zone, I'm just like, yo, that's a big boy NFL throw. So, yeah, I definitely feel you on that, Jax. I like Malik Neighbors, too, though. Great wide receiver. Yeah, Jamar said Tyrod is better than DJ. He is, man, and he's proven it, man. Tyrod been a Pro Bowl quarterback, man. Like, come on, we got to call a spade a spade. And I know people just be clinging on to that thing because they were so high on Daniel Jones, right? And I've always been like kind of like this with Daniel Jones. Even in 2022, when he was proving to me that he was a better quarterback, I'm like, yeah, yo, I'm going to ride with him. Dude's a good quarterback. He's playing good football. I'll never sit up here and tell you. You could go through every one of my streams, every giant overreaction of over 2 hours where I talk about Daniel Jones. There's never one time where I said Daniel Jones is trash, garbage, none of that stuff. I never say that. He's an average quarterback. That's what he is. I thought last year he was a tick above average. That was the way I was describing it. I described it like that to Lawrence Tynes. He gave me a bunch of flack for it. Like, how can you sit up here and say that Daniel Jones is a tick above average? I thought it was a compliment. He looked at it like it was a diss, and I think this year we're starting to see it. Lawrence Tynes entered the year and he said Daniel Jones was going to be in the MVP conversation. I mean, that take looking crazy right now. And I think when people throw these takes out there and everybody want to praise it, people say that, they'll be like, Awthentik is doing something for clicks when he criticizes or he's critical about Daniel Jones. Let's just keep it funky up here, y'all. The Giants fan base wants to see positive thoughts about Daniel Jones at the quarterback position. Not only Daniel Jones, they want to see positive takes and positive thoughts about everybody on this team. If you say, hey, Saquon Barkley, I could test it right now if you want. If I go to my Twitter right now and say, yeah, even though Saquon Barkley fumbled the bag last night, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. He's resilient. The likes and all the comments going to run up. If I say, yeah, Daniel Jones going to come back next year, I guarantee y'all this. If I said Daniel Jones is going to come back next year and win comeback player of the year and he's going to run it up, that tweet would go crazy and go viral. If I say, oh, Daniel Jones has 2 touchdowns and 7 turnovers on the season, it's going to be crickets. So, like, the people that say, like, oh, the negative stuff gets clicks, it doesn't. Even when people say that about national media, I don't understand the thinking behind that. It makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, and I see my man Alex doubling down. He says they gave Tyrod the easier practices. I mean, like, come on, man. Like, I get it, okay? You want to throw some stuff at the so-called starting quarterback, right? And let me put this one on the screen so we can address it a little bit more, right? Think about this. Why would they throw a more difficult situation at Daniel Jones after declining the 5th-year option? They didn't believe in him. Why would they give him a greater test than the guy that they know? Think about that. Really think about that. Think if you were a teacher and you had 2 students. One of them already excelled. The other one, you have question marks about him. That's why you would throw them a more difficult test to see where they stand. It's that simple. So I'm not going to sit up here and deny that they didn't throw him a greater test and whatnot, but that's why they did it, because they didn't believe in him. And look, right now, where we are at right now, they should have just declined the 5th-year option and maybe franchise tag Daniel Jones. Just maybe. But giving him that contract, the more and more I be thinking about it, that's John Mara's work. That's John Mara's work, bro. Most definitely. Shout out my homie, Brother L, one time in the building. What's going on, fam? He said, Awthentik, do you trust the current staff in the building to develop Tommy DeVito into a starter, or at worst, a legit number 2 with starter capability? Brother L, I'm glad you brought this up. Let's hold this thought right here, and let's go right into the next giant overreaction, and we're going to talk about this. All right. This one comes from Talking Giants. I saw the clip come out today. I had a couple of notes on this clip too, because I wanted to quote them, but I also wanted to show the rest of the video. I wanted to at least quote the rest of the video so y'all could know kind of the context of where this tweet comes from. Let me scroll down here real quick because there was a lot to it. All right. So, let me get this right back one time. So the statement here, and this came from Justin Pennick from Talking Giants. They do really great work over there. I love what they do, man. They covered off-season with the New York Giants. They went to minicamp every day. These dudes were grinding out. Bobby lives in Florida. He's going up there, going out to all the practices. They're filming the practices. They're coming back, doing recaps. They do great work, man. Big shout out to them. And when I see them, rising in the ranks of the Giants community, it's a beautiful thing. I love seeing that from them, because I remember when they first started their channel, people were like, why y'all calling it Talking Giants? Entertainer and Bad Dog do Talking Giants segment and blah, blah, blah. And they've shown that they are definitely worthy of rising to the cream of the crop when it comes to content creators here. Now, Justin Pennick said, Brian Daboll and the Giants have proven they can develop quarterbacks. And I thought this was a really interesting statement. And in the video, he says, seeing what the Giants are doing with Tommy DeVito, this guy is not supposed to be doing this. He's just not. I feel very comfortable with Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka, even if it's not a guy like Drake May or Caleb Williams, a top 5 pick. Let's just say it's a guy like Hendon Hooker, who they were interested in, and they want to take him in the 3rd round. I'm at a point where I'm a little more open to that than I was before knowing the way they can develop quarterbacks on the fly. Y'all tell me what y'all think, if this is an overreaction, or if you think that this statement on the screen has some merit to it. Put the U's in the chat if you want to take the under. If you think it's an overreaction, put an O in the chat to represent you taking the overreaction, or you can put a P in the chat to represent you taking the push. And I'm going to give you some thoughts on this. So, Brian Daboll, I think right now, although it has been just a season and some change, has not proven he can develop quarterbacks. Now, I think that Joe Schoen kind of got this job off the strength of what Josh Allen did for the Buffalo Bills. When you look at the way that the roster was constructed around him outside of the signing of Stephon Diggs, it's really not that much work. They built up that defense a little bit. I'll get him that. But when it comes to weapons, Gabe Davis is kind of looking like I can't call Gabe Davis a miss, but absolutely not a bona fide wide receiver too. They've struggled to put running backs around Josh Allen, and Josh Allen just time in and time out figures out ways to be able to go out there and win games. And I thought that Trayvon Diggs made a good point. He said that, Josh Allen, he tweeted this out too, 10 toes down. He said, before my bro got over there, that Josh Allen dude wasn't really doing much. I think Josh Allen is an incredible talent. He is an elite quarterback in this league. I think he's right at the floor of elite when it comes to the quarterbacks in this league. But Brian Daboll, I don't think that he proved that he developed Josh Allen. Josh Allen still does a lot of the things that he did early on in his career. He was always a good runner. He could always get the ball in the end zone with his legs. They figured out some things with the way that he throws it, but how much of that is credited to Brian Daboll and how much of that is just credited to the work that Josh Allen put in? And I fast forward to the future, I don't think Brian Daboll developed Daniel Jones. I think that this Daniel Jones that we see today is the exact same Daniel Jones that we saw in the Jason Garrett and the Joe Judge system. That's how I look at it. They put a read option type of system behind them, which Jason Garrett and Brian Daboll tried to do that too. And it got Daniel Jones hurt in the long run. That year, he ended up getting hurt when he hurt the hamstring or whatever it was. Then he came back and he hurt the ankle. And then you see Daniel Jones in this one trying to evade in the pocket, tears the ACL. So for me, I think that this, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think that this statement is a bit of an overreaction. I don't think that they've already shown. And then when you add and the Giants, that means we're talking about Mike Kafka and the rest of this coaching staff. I don't think that they've proven that they can develop quarterbacks just yet. I want to see what happens when these guys go out there and they get their rookie. So to the homie brother L, I think that was perfect timing with how you came in asking about that, about how they can develop. I think the verdict is still out. To me, I think the correct answer here would be to take the push. But I'm going to go out and just say it's an overreaction thus far. They have not proven that they can develop quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor kind of was who he was before he got to the Buffalo Bills. And even then, he hadn't played underneath Brian Daboll as an offensive coordinator when he was in Buffalo. So I can't credit that to them either. I definitely think this one is an overreaction, but if you take the push, I'm not too upset with you taking the push. I think the push is probably the correct answer, to be honest. But I want to go out on a limb today and just say, yeah, this is an overreaction. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Let me pull up some of these one time. Corey Pate in the building. Corey Pate says he's taking the push. Let me see something here real quick. There we go. He says, I can't say they developed or made Jones better. We'll have to see how DeVito turns the season out or how a new quarterback goes. Jones may have learned the wrong habits. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like some bad habits in the Pat Shurmur system, which was like, hey, just kind of try to stick in that pocket, which you got to do in the NFL to an extent, but you also got to have that internal clock. That internal clock is so important. And, I think that when it comes to Daniel Jones, some of the bad habits with the Joe Judge and the Jason Garrett, when they were trying to correct bad habits, they created more bad habits. Daniel Jones, a kind of guy in the pocket that holds on to the ball a little bit too long. I think Brian Daboll kind of got a little bit better with him in that regard, but still, I would not credit Brian Daboll to being as saying that he developed Daniel Jones, because Daniel Jones has been the same quarterback. And he's not a guy that has ever really lit it up, ever. You've had a couple of games here and there. There's no big games in Daniel Jones' whole entire career against teams that are like really good teams. Not even really good, just good teams. You got those big games against the Washington Commanders, the Detroit Lions, the New York Jets in 2019 and whatnot. And he's owned the Washington Commanders ever since he's been the quarterback here. But we saw Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito do the exact same thing. I think it's more of a Washington Commanders thing. No slight to my brother, the Beard, one time, but that's just what it is. I see a lot of mixed opinions on this one. Ben Dawson taking the push on this one time. Vince Purdy says that Dable is not a quarterback whisperer to me. I'm with you on that. And not many coaches are. Not many coaches are, man. They're like, when I look at the situation with Justin Fields in Chicago, I wish they could put a quarterback whisperer around him because I think he's got the talent to do it. But you mentally got to get him into a state of mind that, trusting what he sees with his eyes. But yeah, I kind of agree with you on this one. I might take the push on it, Vince, but I feel you. Cross says, we could have greatly improved this roster without his cap hit. If that ain't facts, bro, and Cross, we talk about it all the time, man. Like, I don't know what people were seeing when they thought Daniel Jones deserved $40 million. Ex-NFL players telling y'all that Daniel Jones deserves $40 million a year, bare minimum. Nah, bro, it didn't make no sense to me. That's a good point you make right there, Cross. Chaz G says, we don't have enough data to say. I like that, and that's why I think the push is probably the correct answer because Brian Dable has not been out there and had a lot of opportunity to develop quarterbacks. So I definitely agree with you on that. That's a good point you make right there. I love this right here from the homie AJ Nix, man. This is facts. I said it on Twitter, man. That wing tee stuff, man, you got to take that out and just ball that up with that tush push that they were trying to copy off the Philadelphia Eagles. Throw that up out of the playbook. You got to get rid of that one. Adam is taking the push on this one time. Dom Dizzy taking the push on this one time. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Yo, I don't know if I say this enough, bro, but like the support that you give me and the Beard over here on this channel, in the Bleacher Report streams, bro, like you be first in the building, you, Chris Peace, a few others, man, like, yo, I can't tell you enough, bro. I know the saying these days be like, say less and whatnot, but I can't tell you enough, bro. Your support for this channel, man, you be here every damn stream, week in and week out, man. Big salute to you, man. We appreciate that, fam. He says when he did play this season, he looked worse than any previous version of him. Huh. And you know what's crazy about that is this was like supposed to be one of the better rosters built around Daniel Jones, which that was the scary part about it. And he got to play with a healthy lineup. Week one, especially, the offensive line ended up getting a little bit banged up later on, but he had Waller out there for a little while. And even still struggling mode, Mobster Music is saying this in the overreaction one time. AJ Nick says that Dable is considered one of the best at nurturing and developing quarterbacks. He is considered that. I'm just waiting on the proof, but I'm with you on that. I mean, that is the consensus around the league. And Bill Belichick said that if he had to have a coach who was going to be coaching offense and defense, the guy for the job is Brian Dable. I like Brian Dable. I think Brian Dable is a good coach. Started off a little inconsistent this year, and he couldn't adjust fast enough for my liking. But they have adjusted in the past couple of weeks, and I don't know how much of that is to credit to Tommy DeVito, but I do think even the game I was at against the Washington Commanders, you saw it. He was scheming wide receivers wide open in that game for Tommy, and Tommy was making the throws. Kareem Yee says he's taking a push on this one. Dable's offensive plays seemed great, but as far as development, I'm not so sure. I agree with you on that. And, you saw Dable kind of take a more hands-on approach mid-season and kind of like jump in and start, kind of taking over, possibly calling the plays. They haven't really admitted to this yet, but it looked like, every time you would see Mike Kafka up there in the top booth, play sheet right there. They don't even show them shots that much no more. So I'm not too sure what's going on. And I think Brian Dable is a very mysterious type of head coach that's not going to give out all the goods. Let me see. Okay, we got another Hove bar from my homie Brother L, man. Big shout out to Brother L one time, man. He was going back and forth the other day. You kind of, you disqualified me in the ether versus, the super ugly battle and whatnot. You disqualified me. I thought we could have kept that going. You know what I'm saying? He said, you was who you was before you got here. That's a good one. Yeah, that is a good one. That's a good one. you was who you was before you got here. I love the way he delivered it too. He kind of sang it when he said that. Jay-Z got infinite bars, man. I need to, I've been like compiling quotes over here like on my desk, and I think I'm gonna make like a board of quotes over here on my left. And Marquez delivers some awesome quotes from the Dallas Cowboys community. I be hoping he be popping in more with them quotes. But this is a good one here too, man. Like, you was who you was before you got here, fam. That's a good one. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. I think I got a little space on the wall over here, man. I wish y'all could see. One of these days, I'm gonna put up a second camera so y'all can see the full studio, man. I'm finally like all set up. The studio is popping right now, man. It looks great. Been taking more clients and whatnot, man. It's been a hectic transition, but I'm happy to be over it right now. Yes, no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Agreeing. Hove with the most quotables of all time, man. Yo, when Hove said that He said, ninjas don't get the picture till the weapons is drawn. Oh, my God. Yo, to me, Hove, best verse. Y'all, I could be up here talking with y'all all damn day. I still got to do something where we cross some hip-hop with some football stuff. But Hove, best verse to me is on Volume 1 on Imaginary Player. Like, yo, when he was like, I spit that's that nice mug. Meantime, follow me around. Deep cover. You beer money. I'm all year money. I'm popping. You ain't got to count if it's all here money. Like, dude, like, it's all there. It's all there. Like, Hove got some of them verses, and early Hove for me is just, whew. We could do a whole stream on Hove quotables. I promise y'all that we're going to do that before the season is over. For damn sure. But I think this one kind of also split the room a little bit here. Just a little bit. Yeah, this is facts right here, Darius. That's facts. And I see Patrick Grove in the building. He says, let me see, is Tommy a perfect scheme fit for this system? I won't say perfect. I think you need a little bit more arm talent. And accuracy. You saw he was wildly inaccurate in this game early on. Accuracy would help out Tommy DeVito, but he's young. I will not rule out that he could get to be the quarterback that could be a perfect scheme fit, but not quite yet. Not quite yet. Shout out to Miles one time in the building. What's going on, fam? Miles said, one important thing is that this defense wasn't buying DJ nearly as many extra possessions as they had for DeVito. That Buffalo game was the turning point for this defense. It was, and I think it kind of happened in the back half of the Miami Dolphins game as well. You know, we did force 3 turnovers in that game on Tua and whatnot. And I've been saying this for a while, like, the defense feeds off of what the offense does. If you can just sustain some drives a little bit, you cannot forget about how many 3-and-outs this offense had in the beginning of the year. They went like 7 games without scoring a touchdown in the first half. They had that lull of not scoring points in the first quarter. No touchdowns in the first quarter. The Giants were like outscored in the first half. I think we had 6 points at home all the way up to week 6. I think that the reason why this defense has been playing better, and don't forget the Raiders game, right? When the offense didn't play good in the Raiders game, the New York Giants defense regressed and went right back to their old ways. They need this offense to be able to sustain drives, control the time of possession just a little bit, and then this defense will absolutely show up. But when you get, into predictable down and distances, I think that helps out the defense. And you need that. You need your offense to be putting up points to be able to have this defense to play a more balanced type of game plan. But I do think you got a point, Miles. It is a good point. Like, the defense has played better. And I think the more and more that the offense gives the defense those opportunities, they're learning how to build the chemistry within. And they're starting to play better. Like, the last couple of weeks, this defense has just been on fire, man. The Washington game, 6 turnovers, that's unheard of for a team to force 6 turnovers. I was in a fantasy battle in my fantasy football league this week, right? I was sitting in the last playoff spot, and I needed a victory. And I had Brandon Cooks and I had Jake Ferguson on Sunday. And when Sunday was all said and done, I was up by like 6 points going into the Monday night game, and my opponent had the Tennessee Titans defense. So I started looking around at the Giants, and I was like, man, let me go back and look at that 6 turnover game and see how many points that scored for us in fantasy. And it was 18 points. And I was like, damn, man, it's going to be a close call here. Just looking at how the defense played and whatnot. But like, you just don't see teams get that many turnovers in a game. And I ended up winning the fantasy game. So I'm in the playoffs in my league. I'm kind of like the New York Giants version of my team in our league. Like, I should not be there. I started off 0-4 and just rallied a bunch of wins. I think after starting out 0-4, I've only lost either 1 or 2 games since. And I just think that speaks a little bit of volumes to the defense, man. Like, turnovers are extremely important. And the New York Giants, that's what they've been doing as of late. The more and more that they've been balling out together, this defense has looked even better. The secondary, man, like, we really got our unit. We actually got our unit out there on defense. I think that there are 3 young staple pieces in that secondary when it comes to Xavier McKinney. They just got to find a way to pay this guy and get him back on his team. Jason Pinnock and Deonte Banks, my God. And y'all know we got our middle linebacker, man. Bobby Okereke has been playing great football. Then you got Kayvon Thibodeau on the edge. We address edge in this draft. The New York Giants defense is really headed into a great place right now. The offense just got to match that energy. That's really all it's about. Let me see what else. Just scrolling down a little bit more. Shout out to Zanny one time, or Zani. I can't remember how we pronounce that, but big shout out to you, fam. We appreciate you pulling up. He said there's no better example of what you're saying than the Arizona game. 2 different teams in the second half. Thank you for that. This is why, I'm telling y'all, The Awthentik and the Beard family in the chat, dog. We got the best gang in the whole damn community. Like, this statement is so true. Like, okay, I give you a little something to give you a little alley-oop on it, but this is so true. The Arizona game, our defense looked so pathetic in that first half. As soon as that offense started sustaining some drives in the second half, look at what that defense did. Without the defense in the Arizona Cardinals game, there's no way we win that game. And I know Daniel Jones, he went completely ape, had a great performance in the second half, but he couldn't have done that without the stops that the defense was making. This, man, I just randomly just scrolled and found this. What a great point. What a great point. Is it Zanny or is it Zani? I got to know. I think it's Zani. That's my guess. I'm going to guess it's Zani. I don't know why. Your profile picture kind of gives me Zani vibes. But let me know. I'm going to try to keep my eye on that one time. Shout out to my dog one time. Big salute to you, Antonio. I saw you in the movie, man. You was playing that role. Got you in the football uniform for a second there, bro. I thought you was like in a semi-pro league. But then I looked at the way your uniform kind of fit you. I was like, nah, that's some movie stuff right there. I know my man Antonio will be a little bit more swagged out on a football field one time. Jersey was kind of loose, you know what I'm saying? Like down here was a little bit like not kind of tight around the arms and whatnot. The cleats wasn't laced up. I was like, yeah, he probably on a movie set. But big shout out to you, man. And I saw you was on what joint was that? Was it? I think it was Fight Club. It was another movie. It was another movie that you were in as an extra during a fight scene. Let me know what movie that was, man. Big shout out to you, bro. I hope you continue to keep flourishing, man. I know you got that new job with that promotion and whatnot, getting a big bankroll one time, and you getting these acting gigs, bro. Yo, big salute to you, bro. That's my guy right there, man. We always talking ball. He said people talk about corners and edges, and it's true. They're the highest paid. But if you don't have inside D tackle, nose tackle, and middle linebacker and safeties, you have nothing. That's facts. That's definitely facts. I think that the middle linebacker is one of the most important positions, especially in my day, man. Like OG, old school football, man. Like when you talk about like the Brian Urlachers and the Zach Thomases and the Mike Singletaries, you know, it was all about the middle linebacker because one, they were the most important player on the field, and two, they were the quarterback of your defense. They're calling all the plays, and we see that sometimes now, but it's not all the time that you see the middle linebacker being the quarterback on the defense. I think for us for a while, there was Xavier McKinney who was calling all the plays, during the Blake Martinez era of middle linebacker and whatnot. But yeah, man, I think that's super important, man. And you see it with Dexter Lawrence, man. Dexter Lawrence is, killing the middle of these defenses and whatnot. It's good to see him getting back healthy and whatnot as well. I think D tackle, nose tackle is super important, and middle linebacker. And then your safeties, man. Those are the levels of your line of defense in the middle of the field. So when a big run gets past your defensive line, middle linebacker got to step up and make that play. If it gets past the middle linebacker, your safety better be a good tackler. It's why I kind of like Julian Love a little bit at the safety position as well. But I think Pinnock does a great job of stepping up and doing the exact same things. And then, I see you, Antonio. It was Ray Donovan, and my shorty loves Ray Donovan. Ray Donovan and Dexter are some of her favorite shows. Yeah, that's what's up, dog. My man Antonio was in the back on the Ray Donovan joint. It didn't even look like you, dog. You had like a whole different swag, man. Big shout out to the homie, man. I appreciate you pulling up and rocking out with us on this stream. All right, so let me just check this real quick one time. Okay, yeah, we good on that. I got one more giant overreaction before we get up out of here. This one was pretty split, man. I don't think he's quite developing the quarterbacks just yet. But I think he's not. It's not like Brian Dable's doing a bad job at developing quarterbacks. Let's get off into this last giant overreaction. All right, let's talk about it, y'all. The homie, Nita Applebaum, says it's over for Daniel Jones. You take that how you want to take that. I'm going to give y'all a little bit of time to do your thing, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been wrapping y'all up for a little bit here. We're going to get y'all up out of here after this last one. Try to keep this under a 2-hour stream. I got to start doing some maybe I'll do a mini series to the Giant Overreaction where we do some quick hitters, man. Because these streams do be going long, but this is what it is, man. I enjoy myself, when I'm up here talking football with y'all and time just flies by, man. I was already on Bleacher Report for an hour today. We up here for an hour and 44. Y'all let me know what y'all thinking on this one. I'm going to keep my eye on the chat one time. Antonio says we're winning our way to Michael Penix Jr., and I love it. I would not be mad at that, bro. You know I would not be mad at that. I just want, just don't botch it, right? Just get me the quarterback. That's all I want. Just get me the quarterback. Hey, and my man Vince Purdy said O is for over. If you just describe it if it's O is for over. Let me see. Let me scroll back and see if only let me know how to say his name one time. Shout out Joe Marr one time in the building. I don't know if Joe Marr is a new face, man, but welcome to the gang, fam. We appreciate you pulling up. He said, yeah, Penix would be such an upgrade. Man, my God, would he? Penix would just make this offense move. And when you're talking about the deep shot, man, like Michael Penix throw one of the best deep passes in the league. I seen some people trying to knock Michael Penix simply off the strength that he's left-handed. Like, man, come on, dog, man. Football players are football players are football players. Was they doing that with Steve Young back in the day? I bet they was. Definitely not the vibe one time. Antonio says it's over. Jones has proven in 4 out of 5 years he cannot stay healthy for the season. It would be a crime against humanity if Shane doesn't bring a backup with substance. That backup with substance might be Tommy DeVito, man, but you got to go out here and draft yourself this quarterback if you ask me, but I'm right there with you, fam. Adam Costas in the building, man. Make sure y'all go subscribe to Adam Costas. Yo, Adam been on the waves. Adam Ben was telling people this quarterback ain't the guy. Even when I was like still a little bit like, I don't know, man, let's give him his opportunity. Adam was like, bro, this ain't the guy. I still got to send you that rant because that rant was absolute fire one time. Adam, I should play that rant one time on the show. Let me see, man. Let me see if I can do a quick search of Adam on this rant one time because this rant was legendary, bro. And Adam be having the legendary rants. Let me see if I can find it. Adam said he taken the U one time. Said he gone. Let me check this search real quick one time. If we get this real quick. See if I labeled it under his name. I thought I would have labeled it under his name. Let me see if it's just Adam. Let's see. Y'all bear with me because I do want to find this. This rant is so amazing, and I know I saved it. I ain't got it. I don't think I got to do a deep dive. Yeah, I got to do a deep dive. Oh, I found it. All right, Adam, I need you to let me know in the chat if I have permission to play this rant one time. Let me know. I'm going to go through a couple more of these as I see them. If I could play this rant, that would be absolutely amazing because this rant was so crazy, yo. Adam was going off, yo. Adam, give me confirmation one time. I see he said he is here to keep the seat warm for a guy like Bo Nix. He said, go ahead. My man, Adam. All right, listen to Adam on this rant one time, y'all. He was going crazy, and this was after the Eagles loss. I can't play the whole thing because it's 4 minutes and 57 seconds. But I will play y'all at least a little bit of it until we'll see how much we can bear with it one time. Let's see. Okay, let me get to the meat and potatoes one time.
We need to get angry. Okay, I'm tired of sitting here listening to you guys. The only reason I came on here is because I'm sitting here listening to you guys go, oh, it's okay. We lost. We're getting our asses kicked. No! It's not time for that anymore. We were 7-2. We needed to come in here and show it. Every week I get roasted and telling you guys how bad this team was, and I get you're not a fan. You're just negative. You can't see anything. And now you want to sit here and be poo-poo of it? Give me a fucking break right now. Okay, this is why I'm so fucking fired up because you guys sit here every week when I sit here on my show with Mac the Giant Fan, the real deal NFC East Roundup. We sit up here and we dissect this team, and every one of you guys in the chats roast me, every single one of you. When I tell you, oh, well, this team is not ready to play, blah, 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 da, 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 da. Oh, we're 7-2. We need to go out there and stomp on their face. We need to go win. We can't lie down. Adam, you're a jerk for thinking that we're going to lose coming into the game. That's all you guys say to me. And now you want to sit here when we're sitting here playing this team, and you want to be like, oh, it's okay. We're supposed to be embarrassed. Look, everyone told me in this game that we were not supposed to be getting embarrassed. Look what we did to the Cowboys. We hung with the Cowboys. We walked in here, we got embarrassed. Did one of you come back and say, hey, you were right? No, you didn't. So this is what I'm trying to tell you, motherfuckers. If you're not angry at this game, Don't worry about Washington. You guys are sitting there like, oh, Washington. How do you know Washington not licking their chops right now, sitting at their building in their house on 10 days rest, coming in saying, we can fuck this team up. This is our chance to get to the playoffs. We're sitting here resting on, we're going to beat Washington and the Colts. This is what I'm talking about. We can't just sit back on our fucking lazy boys and sit here and we're going to beat Washington. Because you know what? They're saying the same thing. They're saying the same thing. You don't think Ron Rivera's going to have these boys fired up in their building? That's why this tie stinks, because we should have beat them in our building. If we beat them in our building, or hey, how about this? This is a thought. How about we beat the Lions when I said we should have beaten the Lions weeks ago? And everyone's like, oh, that loss doesn't matter. Well, guess what? It's staring us right in the face. We should already be in the playoffs. If we were a good team, we would have punched our ticket already.
You got a point there?
You got a point.
He made us all look stupid because he's right. He's right.
You got a point.
Now,
Right.
Adam goes off into some more on this one. This one gets wild. I'm going to send this to you, Adam, in this video. Shout out to NYG Jeffy, who was in this video too. Another one that we lost from the Giants community, man, because he was up there like eating humble pie that day too. There's like 7 people on this panel that were all pretty much, just like optimistic type of vibes. And Adam had to go in there and set the record straight. After listening to the stream had been going for 55 minutes of pretty much all excuses for the New York Giants getting dog walked by the Philadelphia Eagles, man. So big shout out to my homie Adam. Adam, I appreciate you letting me play that on the stream, man. Apologies for the vulgar language, but like my man Vince Purdy says right here, man, we grown. As far as this last overreaction, I'm going to get y'all up out of here. I told y'all 2 hours, man. We're going to have a good time here today, man. First of all, I want y'all to enjoy y'all Victory Tuesday. Again, this is the first Victory Tuesday in the history of Awthentik and the Beard that lets you know what's been going down on Monday Night Football on primetime games. And off the strength of that rant right there, make sure y'all go search Adam Costas. He been doing content for so long. I remember when you were doing the videos in your attic, bro, like just popping up on the phone or something like that and doing your recordings. Go show that dude some love, man. Do that for me, please. Go subscribe to his channel. Him and the homie Mac the Giants fan, they both do dual streams. If you follow Adam, you'll be able to find what Mac the Giants fan is doing. And them dudes, to me, they keep it 100 when it comes to this New York Giants stuff. It's no like unicorns and rainbows. It's none of that. It's just straight ball talk, real ball talk. And I always respect Adam when he pops up in the spaces, man. I've been holding that rant for a long time. I'm glad that I was able to find that rant because it was a hilarious moment. I was sitting in the chat and I didn't even say much, man. I just told Adam about it after. I was like, bro, I recorded the rant because you was on a roll. It's a great rant from the beginning of last season. So make sure y'all do that, man. Do me that favor. Go show some love to one of my homies, man, that pops up in the spaces all day long, be talking football, lives this Giants football, man, for real. And there you go. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Put the stream in the comments section right there, man. So definitely go out there, show some love to that man. But I do think it's over for Daniel Jones. I won't say it's over for him as far as him playing another game for the New York Giants. I think it is very possible because even if the New York Giants go out there and they draft a rookie quarterback, that does not mean that the rookie quarterback is going to come in and start right off the bat. I'm just looking at Ben Dawson's comment right there. Yeah, he's talking about the Nets and the Knicks one time. Yeah, but I do think that Daniel Jones can see some more starts for the Giants. And if you draft a rookie quarterback, I know a lot of people aren't, they don't favor just throwing the rookie to the wolves like that. But I definitely think that Daniel Jones will play a couple more games. I don't know if it'll be a true opportunity for him because I think if the Giants make the right move in this particular situation, they know already that they're going to be drafting a quarterback. And I said this on the Bleacher Report stream. I keep quotes up here. The one quote staring at me right now, skate to where the puck is going, not where it has been. Wayne Gretzky, one of the greatest hockey players ever. And that's exactly what the New York Giants got to do, man. They got to figure out where we're going to be in 2025 and put our team and our franchise in position to get back to greatness. For those of y'all that saw the Tom Coughlin clip, which I almost want to upload it and just show y'all again because it gives me chills, man. The Tom Coughlin speech, his last speech as a New York Giant, and when he walked off that stage and pretty much told John Mayer to kiss his ass and didn't even shake his hand walking off the stage. I think that's the last time that the New York Giants were really, truly chasing greatness. And we just been in these very like staggered years. You know, we got the 2 years of success with the 2016 season and the 2022 season. But outside of that, man, the New York Giants have been a bad team for an extremely long time, y'all. And we got to find a way to get back. We absolutely have to find a way to get back to New York Giants greatness. I support this team no matter what. I always tell people, man, bad New York Giants football is better than no New York Giants football. I'll say that again. Bad New York Giants football is better than no New York Giants football. Because I will sit up here and watch my team get dog walk, and I don't like it, but I enjoy football that much. You know, I fell in love with this game back when my brother had a tire tied to the damn tree, and he was training me as a quarterback. That was when I was in the second grade. That's when I fell in love with this game. So in second grade, you're 7 years old. So that was 1990 for me. That's when I fell in love with this game. And I fell in love with the quarterback position. And a lot of people they'll come into the chat. I won't say a lot of people, some people, they come into the chat and they like, why are you always harping on the quarterback? Well, that's why, because I played the quarterback position all the way from 1990 all the way to 1998. And in 1999, my head coach, rest in peace, he shifted me to wide receiver that year in a system that ran the wishbone, similar to the wing T, and we barely threw the damn ball. And I gave up on football after that. I was like, dude, like, got me out here blocking these stupid cornerbacks and linebackers and whatnot. We're barely throwing the ball, man. I mean, we had the state leading rusher on our team. And we just, all year long, it was maybe like 6 targets the whole entire year. I was blocking the whole damn year. And I'll never forget when they made that shift, we played a squad that had been winning games for like 3 straight years, man. The first day we made that switch to that wishbone wing T. It's why I hate when I see the New York Giants run that wing T on 4th down. And we straight up got dog walked by this team. They put up like 35 points on us in the first quarter. We ended up scoring a garbage time touchdown at the end of that game. And that was like the end of football for me. I remember that last year I was out there and it was just like I was not into it at all. So I love the quarterback position. I still try to get out here and play a little ball in some intramural leagues and whatnot when I can. And I kind of am looking forward to the offseason so I could go out there and do that. But I'm focused on the quarterback position. So that's why I won't say I have a keen eye for the quarterback position, but it's what I focus on. And today's stream, you know, I know we had a lot about Daniel Jones, and some people are going to say, why do we keep talking about a quarterback that's not playing and whatnot? But I think that's important because the quarterback is the foundation of the offense for a football team. And not only the offense, that's the foundation of the leadership, because a coach can only do so much. A coach cannot go out there on the field and throw the football for the quarterback or put the ball in the wide receiver's hands or make the kind of plays that it takes for a team to come out on top. So I cherish these victories, man, and I hope y'all do too. And being on YouTube makes it that much better for me, y'all. Like, to be able to see my New York Giants go out there and win a game and then get to talk to all New York Giants fans about it. Back in the day, I used to have to come out here, man, and talk to people around D.C. about it, man. There ain't no New York Giants fans out here. So I'm blessed, man. I'm highly favored to be able to come up here, man, week in, week out, chop it up with y'all, that I actually have a foundation, a family that me and the Beard have built here over the years, slowly but surely. And that's what we're going to continue to do, man. I definitely appreciate all of y'all rocking out with us on today's edition of the Giant Overreaction. And, man, enjoy it, y'all. It's going to be a blessed Tuesday for me. The Beard, I gave the Beard the day off. I know he was happy about that. We're going to come back on Thursday to talk about the preview for Week 15. Commander's going to be back out there, man. We got some big games coming up, man. The playoffs is rolling down here. The New York Giants, if they want any shot, they're going to have to win some surprise games. And Tommy DeVito, man, he's been giving us a shot. That's all we can ask for, I feel like, right now, is get a shot to try to get in these playoffs. And if not, we're going to have to focus on that draft. But no matter what happens, Joe Schoen is absolutely responsible for trying to get the New York Giants the best player that we could possibly get at the quarterback position. I appreciate all y'all pulling up. Alvaro, that means the world, bro. I appreciate that, fam. Appreciate you pulling up, rocking out with me. Cross, I definitely appreciate you pulling up, rocking out with us, man. We talk ball with Cross. Momo, I appreciate you, bro. I definitely appreciate you. Ben Dawson, I see you. Deedon, I see you, bro. Eric Rivera, I see you, fam. Joe Marr, I see you, fam. I definitely see all of y'all, man. I hope y'all go out there, man. Talk y'all shit today, man. We won a game against a team that's sitting there at the 7th seed, and that's where I think we want to be. Oh, my homie in the building one time. Make sure y'all go subscribe to this dude too, man. The Illa, man. This dude dropped nothing but facts This dude's Joe Shane video from almost, I want to say like a year and a half ago, bro. So spot on, man. I appreciate you pulling up here, man, last minute. Great homie right here, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. You got some great content over there, man. I hope everything is good on y'all end. And I hope y'all holidays went well for the Thanksgiving stuff and whatnot. I know I ain't chopped it up with y'all in a minute. Alfredo, I see you, bro. Salute, man. Salute to all of y'all. Gregory, Dallas Cowboys fans, Eagles fans that pull up and rock out with me in the beard every week, man. Y'all know what it is. We truly, truly appreciate y'all, man. Keep living those dreams, y'all. Keep raising that bar because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, Mr. Combat Jack himself. And that's a wrap, y'all. Y'all be good. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Live it up, man. It's been a great, great Victory Tuesday for the New York Giants, y'all. Peace.
Spike don't care.